MaviX Toycat, and okay, no, now, hello, I'm MaviX Toycat, and welcome back to another live stream on the internet. Today, I'm going to be working on the destruction of an entire piglin bastion. This is a giant Minecraft project, it goes without saying, and I've made a lot of progress. I've destroyed the left side entirely, I've destroyed almost the entirety of the right side, we've destroyed the back of the bridge, almost the front of the bridge, but now comes a harder bit because we have to destroy the main structure itself. I'm going to need a lot of buckets, so I brought 7 with me, plus 57 iron, that's like 19 more buckets if my back of an envelope maths is to be believed. And basically, we've just got to be picking up a lot of lava, we've got to be destroying a lot of blackstone bricks and basalt, and it's gonna be fun because we're gonna do it while we chill and hang out and do what we usually do on the Toycat live streams, which is make you question your entire sense of self. Or maybe just, you know, maybe today is the first day we just decide, let's just chill out and have a nice time discussing questions like, I am determined to be the first super chat. I don't know why, but I want to be here anyways. Here's a very early tax for a pretty early stream, not a long pushback today. You know, I like the people being positive about like, oh yeah, the stream could be later than it was right now. There are some people who are like, you know, if this stream isn't exactly the time I want, then I'm angry. But you know, just remember, it could always be later. That's always a good way to think about things, whether it's this stream or whether indeed it's anything in your life. But yeah, it's good to see you, Triple Threat. How are you doing today? I'm doing delightfully today. Thank you for asking. See, that interaction is like so generic that I just imagined your response, and it's probably not too far off correct, right? Also, yeah, we're gonna be scooping up all of the lava. I don't know how much left is to actually be picked up, but given that one block of lava can produce 1,000 blocks of lava, only a few buckets can drain an entire thing, in a way that's kind of surprising to me sometimes, but I digress. Did we pick up that basalt? I'm pretty sure we did. I hope we definitely did. We have to be so careful around this lava because the logic of how lava works is sometimes not very consistent. And here is a prime example of that. I'm standing next to a full block of lava, it hasn't drained down, and now by scooping up a single bit, it all drains down. Okay, that's nice, we did it. Let's get into the mining part of the day. But yeah, how is everyone doing on this fine Thursday? I've been having a, I describe it as like a day just, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, what I would say is like a day off, you know, like sometimes like the day of rest is an important thing or whatever, but I'd say I've just had a day of like, you know, I'm gonna do the things that I've wanted to do for a while now, because like rest is important, just doing nothing is important, but sometimes doing the things you really want to do is just as important. But like, you can't really call it resting if you're like, you know, I got a new scooter recently, went for a ride around London, was surprisingly fun. Got some food I was hyped about. I got my first Five Guys since the pandemic started, and like that's a life changer. Anyone who hasn't gone Five Guys in the last few months, anyone who hasn't gone Five Guys ever, like your life is missing a component, and now my life has that component back. It's exciting, you know. Basically, this was the moment where everything was over. You know, all of it was gone. Also, thank you Game Boy and Bob Free Studios. How do you feel about artificial intelligence? So, artificial intelligence is a really broad term, right? Because even video game, like, you know, like enemies are sometimes called AI, which is, like, patently false, right? Like, they're the opposite of intelligence. But, assuming you just mean, like, okay, so what about, you know, machine learning? What about, you know, the modern version of AI we're seeing? It's boring because this version of AI, this version of machine learning and stuff like that is genuinely a type that is going to revolutionize so many more processes. I guess like every form of AI is smarter than the last, but we're starting to get to the level where we can actually automate the things we wanted from our dreams. Like, also thank you Bob Free Studios. I guess I responded too early. You know, I responded before it even came up for some reason. Oh, it just came up again. I'm having deja vu. Hello, my BX Toycat, and welcome back to another live stream. Linda Norris says I despise Five Guys because they hate hamburgers. How do we ban someone for a bad opinion? Mods, can we get on that? Ban Linda Norris? I can't believe you have that opinion. That is filthy, disgusting, but thank you for sharing it anyway. Anyway, so actually no, thank you for sharing it. Knowing that I share the same air as people like you, that makes me physically sick. But no, you're not, humans need not apply. Exactly, right? But the thing that's like so interesting about this wave of robotics and AI is it's based on like our dreams from the like I think science fiction and art, you know, like art imitates life and life imitates art, but I think the dreams of what robotics can do, you know, the people who are making that stuff now were the people alive during like the 90s and 2000s. And although you can't achieve everything from those dreams, like the fact that VR went from being this haha funny, what is even happening here, by the way? VR went from this haha funny, like, you know, sci-fi technology to it's very real now. VR is a widespread way of playing games. The only reason it's not more widespread is because it's not actually as fun
I
as we
love
think.
watching your old streams while working in my Minecraft world. Glad to finally catch one. #1 Minecraft YouTuber. Also, Five Guys is awesome.
First of all, thank you very much, Valkyrie. I'm glad you think I'm #1. That's the best number to be, I would say. Second of all, you know, I don't know if I can lend my credence to agreeing with you, but I like to try, and I'm glad you enjoy that. Second of all, glad you love the Five Guys. Third of all, thanks so much for the tip, my dude. I really appreciate people who are like, yeah, I am not, you know, like huge into the genre of, you know, like what you do, but I like your stuff enough to find it anyway. Like there's something nice about that, you know. Like it sometimes feels like on YouTube, if you're in a really niche genre, it can be harder to grow than if you're doing something huge like, you know, just video games at this point. Honestly, it's crazy. Gaming went from this niche part of YouTube to like this huge part of it. So like now like there was this point in like 2013 or 14 where every non-gaming channel was like, I have to start a gaming channel. Otherwise, I'm just leaving money on the table, you know? Like, there are people who will watch gaming videos that won't watch other ones. I feel like we've kind of gone back the other direction now. We're like, oh yeah, there are, you know, like, there are people who want to watch other things, but, you know, can't watch games because, like, you know, it's just, they just don't get it. They don't play those video games. And it's fascinating to me how that's a thing that's kind of evolved. Anyway, so, I can't eat Five Guys because they use peanut oils for their fries, and, I'm allergic to peanuts. You know what? I would train myself to be unallergic to peanuts for Five Guys. Don't tell me that's not how that works. I know that's a lie. I know you can do that probably eventually. No, I've heard you do eventually grow out of allergies. I've never understood because I've never been allergic to something. Like, things that kill me are things that kill normal humans. I'm so like, again, this is one of those, like, I'm an unempathetic, like, human being or something, clearly. Situations, because I generally don't understand how, like, oh yeah, there's this normal thing that's fine for everyone, but also it kills 1% of the population. And it's like, whoa, that's pretty serious. How are these people going to know about that? And it's like, oh, they're allergic. Their bodies just fight it. And it's like, why do their bodies fight it? Well, that's not widespread knowledge that we're ever going to talk about. We're just going to mention how it does do that. Also, a really important question, matters of life and death. What's your opinion on the death sentence versus the life sentence? First of all, I've always thought it's funny. That both of the two worst things you can give someone, like one is a death sentence, one is a life sentence. Maybe that's just funny to me. Probably is just funny to me. Second of all, I've always thought personally, like on a individual me level, I would always, if I was given the choice, accept a death sentence over a life sentence. Like in, you know, like within prison, I just don't feel like I'm gonna have the best of lives. Whereas, you know, if we re-roll those dice, maybe reincarnation's a thing or something. So yeah, personally, I've always been on team. I would like, you know, death over an entire life under someone else's rules. But the as far as like, should we punish other people with one or the other? I think the problem with the death, you know, like a life sentence, you can always give someone money back that time, and it's not like, it never makes it even, it just makes it better, you know? But when you kill someone and then you later find out they're innocent, even though it only happens 1% of the time or whatever, that's still you know, that's still all of us collectively, because that's what the government is. It's a collection of all of us. We collectively just killed a person wrongfully, and I think killing people wrongfully is like one of the worst things. One of the worst things a government or person can do. You know, killing people, not a big fan of it. Always my high-quality, controversial opinion that I'm going to give right there. Also, thank you very much, Shorty Mama. Good to see you today. So, something I've been kind of thinking about a lot today. Okay, you know, I'm just going to fly up. That is, every time I try not to fly up, I end up messing up somewhere. Also, there's still lava up there I need to scoop up. Huh. I guess, oh, okay, we're down a level, that's why. Let's just go up here, and let's find ourselves up the level. And let's scoop it all up now. 16 buckets, almost 16 inventory spaces. We can get this done, I'm sure. Okay, just scoopity scoop. People on death row are 10% of the time found innocent. Yeah, right, but the thing is, every single person on death row says they're innocent, so it's really hard to work out who is and who isn't. In the UK, we haven't had the death penalty in forever, and I'm not in favor of bringing it back. Like, it's not like our country is so much less safe than America. In fact, it's the opposite, right? So you don't need a death penalty to be a safe country, and if the death penalty is bad, therefore, then is it the good solution? Like because the interesting thing about crime is also thank you very much, Carlos Vasquez. Velazquez. You know, I'm awful at your name. I'm sorry. You know, Carlos, thank you for becoming a channel member, despite my pronunciation. But like, there's an interesting thing where 1954. Yeah, we used to hang people. It was kind of a mean thing to do. I'm not in favor of snapping people's necks because we don't like them. That's just me. You know, everyone else can do their own thing. But no, the interesting thing about all crime, like the thing that is still endlessly interesting to me, is the concept of deterrence versus the concept of like, you know, do you deal with, you know, do you do bad things to people, to hope that it makes other people, like, you know, like if even though you don't want to kill people, ideally you kill the people so that other people see, oh god, if I do this thing, I might be killed in exchange, because deterrence is a real thing. There are certain crimes that people will. You know, there are certain things people will do less if they think there is a real downside happening to them if they're caught otherwise. But also, there are some things that even if there is a crime with the death sentence, some people will still commit that crime. It's like, well, you can't have a bigger deterrence. So clearly, trying to deter someone from doing something, trying to make it unlikely that they would do that thing, doesn't work, right? That's the kind of broad strokes you can take from that, in my opinion. That if we look at the actual status quo, there are clearly people who, based on the fact that countries had the death penalty for so long, and people still did things that got them to a state where they had the death penalty, shows that you can't just be like, oh yeah, we'll just punish people real hard and then hope that that fixes the problem, because it doesn't clearly by itself. Anyway, so to slide to the left, slide to the right here. One of the things that this is the big question we should all like. If someone can find the answer to this one, obviously it's a huge, broad question over all of humanity. But the big question is, why do people do bad things? Everyone at some point in their life has been affected by another human doing something malicious, doing something bad. Like another human hurt them in a way that they were not supposed to. Another human hurt you in an unfair way. This is something that's happened to everyone at some point. Why do... We missed another block. Why do these things happen? Why do people do the things that hurt other people? And it's such a hard one to say. Like, there's an argument where, like, oh yeah, everyone's always going to hurt you if there's, like, some personal
Started
gain.
MC during quarantine as a way to bond with my daughter at home. Your vids have thrown me into cool mom territory. Ty. I bought her a toy cat plush, but think I'ma keep it since I'm a fan now.
Hey, I love that, dang Ellie. That's why I would love to know, like, you know, just as a little side note, like, if you just go into Minecraft as like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get into this game so I can play it with my daughter. I'd love to know how you found my videos. So always, like, again, this is just my like personal. I'm curious. Tell me about that one. But second of all, I think that's so awesome that you just started watching, trying to be like, I'm gonna learn all the tips, and then you like whatever's going on here. So thank you, dang Ellie. I think the Toy Cat is the most beautiful thing in the world, and they ship in August, right? I'm excited for this whole thing. Can't buy them anymore. They don't exist. So I know I wanna finish that up by saying that's cool. I like whenever someone's like, oh yeah, I wanted to connect with all my life, so I got into learning some stuff. I think that's a example of like people do cool things all the time, right? There's no reason for you to need to do that, but people still do nice things all the time. But like people both do nice things all the time, but also different groups of people usually, but sometimes the same groups of people also do nice things all the time. Why do people do? Why are there people who do bad things, but yet there are also people who do good things, and they're the same people? And the easiest answer is like, okay, well, the concept of good and bad is relative, but it's like, so why do we do things that are displeasurable to people when we specifically go out of our way to try and please someone? Like, you ever done something nice for someone because it's their birthday? You ever get into Minecraft because you have a daughter apparently who's into it, or a friend or whatever? I've heard some people who are like, oh yeah, I thought Minecraft was lame, but my girlfriend got me into it, and now I'm addicted. You know, like, Actually, there's a lot of like forms of media that are true like that. Like, oh yeah, I didn't want to get into a thing, but you know, someone I love in my life said they liked it, so I got into it for them. People do nice things all the time, and for self gain, I think. Yeah, that's and then like okay, then the next train of thought is like, oh yeah, so the only reason we ever do nice things is for self gain. It's the same reason we do bad things, right? People do both nice things and bad things because you gain equal. Like if you do something nice, you gain by someone else liking you and then them doing things that help you out. And if you do something bad, it's because you gain from that. When I steal from you, sure that sucks for you. You lost your £100, but I just got 100, you know, quiderinos. Thank you very much. So, you know, like, there is gain to doing bad things. But then there are sometimes people literally do things that are selfless besides the feeling, you know, like, besides the want of feeling good at the end. Like, when you pick up someone's wallet and it's got cash in it, you don't ever need to return it. But we know that statistically, most wallets, I don't know if it's most actually. I know it's very close to half, like just over or just under half of wallets do get returned, right? Is this an e-mugging, says Swift? This is an e-mugging. Put your hands up. Put your credit card details in now. Actually, I have an exciting I do have an exciting development on that front. Did Toy Cat just agree with someone? You know what? I'm hurt. I did just agree with someone. This is a bad day for me. This is how you can tell I'm not feeling myself today. Also, Nate Watson, thank you for keeping me sane. While oh wait, no, Toy Cat love your streams. Do you know anything about Sikhism? I'm a Sikh, says Isha Singh. Honestly, I lost most of the tenets of Sikhism. I know there's like the 5 things that you carry around with you, and I know, like, I remember reading about it and being like, oh yeah, that's nice, you know, like, but like, you know, because I guess like in my area there's a bunch of Sikhs, and I was like, oh, what's the deal with this? And like, it's generally agreed that no one has a problem with them, which is good, you know. That's how we should feel about every subsect of people. Like, oh yeah, no one has a problem with them. Wouldn't that be nice if everyone was just like, oh yeah, these people, no problem. Those people, no problem. Wouldn't the world be real great? Well, thank you for keeping me help sane while quarantine is on stage. Can you build a statue of Cher in your creative world sometime? What is a Cher? Cher? Is that... Wait. There's a singer called, like... Is it Cher? It must be Cher. So either this is talking about that or I'm missing some acronym. I don't know for sure, but you know, sure. I can do that, but will I do that is no. No, I'm not going to do that. Wait. You got to be polite. Of course I might do that. Or, to use a tip that I mentioned before, the best way to, like, seem like you're being polite while also not doing something someone asked for you is just to say yes and then to not do it. Like, yes, of course I'll build a statue of Cher. And then now I just don't. But I get all the brownie points of having done it, despite the fact that I'm not going to. And if you ask me, I'll just be like, oh yeah, it's happening soon. Happening soon. This is my favorite life pro tip. Just say you're doing things right now. And then a lot of people just get bored and forget about asking you. Because, like, you know, it takes 2 to tango. That's my thing. Hello, says Alina Khan. Hello, I'm your name here. And welcome back to another live stream. Yes, I'll do it after the stream, says Imja. Oh, yes, exactly. I'll do it right after the stream. Right, it's going to be done ASAP. Don't you worry. Just start forgetting about it right now, and it'll be done before you know it. Lying with Toy Cat. It's not even lying, right? It's just saying something. Yeah, I guess it is lying, actually. But it's the best form of lying because it's like, in my opinion, it's like, again, like, there are certain lies where you're basically lying about your, again, I think it's the worst. I think it, like, a lot of times people want a thing from you, and they're going to badger you until they get a thing from you. And because, you know, the thing you want to say is like, no, don't pester me for that thing. That's very annoying. Don't do that. But then people are like, whoa, I was just, you know, and then they get on the defensive. Then they beg, you know, then they'll pester you some more for the thing. So instead you go, oh yeah, here's the thing. Now you can't pester me because I've already said I'm doing it. It's like a counter. I know, it's like one of those tools of human conversation, right? Because whenever you say something, this is something I think about whenever there's like historical records of like a country going out on a limb or saying something. We never know for sure in any historical record, like, especially like past a certain point, whether someone said something because they believed it or they said something to like advance their position in whatever, you know, system they were in or whatever. And I find that very very interesting, personally. Speaking of things that are interesting, today I spent a while reading about because I'm moving to America somewhat soon. I mentioned it before. I'm not going to mention it again. But so one of the things that changes is like all the delivery apps in America and the UK are different. With I think Uber Eats being the only exception I can think of that's in both countries. So moving to America, one of the things that apparently is like a big thing in America is you have to tip your delivery driver, right? I don't know why that's a concept. Again, tipping in America is like strong, but like that's one of those things where it's like I don't want to be the one guy who isn't tipping because apparently they don't make money without tips. Because you know this is how employers work. You pay them separately to the services. When I go into Walmart, actually, when I go into a store, a Target. See, there we go, going nice American. Now you get me. I tip the employee there, right? I mean, why are you not gonna pay the employee who rings up your stuff for you? See, right? It's ridiculous, right? It's funny because you can just like, just pick a list of employees if you're not familiar with American culture, and like half of them will be tipped and half won't, and there's never explanation besides that's just how it is. Anyway, so how many times are you gonna talk about tipping? OMG, I'm gonna talk about it until it gets fixed. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. No, I actually think like from the employee perspective, tipping is like theoretically a good thing if you're like above average at your job, right? But like it's the reason that tipping is like so annoying as like an outsider is because you don't know, and sometimes there's interactions where someone's like waiting for a tip, but you don't know, and then there's sometimes like, and you don't know for sure, and like, are you meant to do it? Can there be such thing as like good food delivery service? I don't think personally there can be, right? Like, did you deliver the food? Is it here? Is it what I ordered? Yes. Well, you did the bare minimum at that point, didn't you? Like, like food delivery drivers who don't deliver your food, and it's like those guys don't get a tip. I guess that literally is the system of accountability, right? You don't tip delivery drivers who don't show up at your door. Anyway, so I'm excited. Oh god. I'm excited. I'm trying to learn like the list of things. Anyway, so that was all a little side note. I wasn't actually trying to talk about tipping, by the way. But again, I don't know why this tickles me so much. The idea that like, yeah, technically speaking, you don't tip delivery drivers that don't show up at your house. I mean, the fact that you can't is probably the biggest reason. But I love that. Servers are paid most times $2.50 now. Yeah, exactly. But that's a see, that the problem with that, like the reason that could start is because one place said, oh yeah, you pay for the employees separately, and then people accepted it, and then it's expanded to more and more positions. And I personally think like it's a great idea, the fact that some people can make a bunch, like, because if you forced all servers to make the same wage nationwide, some would really love being able to make, you know, 15 an hour. Some would look at that amount an hour and be like, but with no tips, let's say, and be like, that's a huge downgrade. Like, what the heck? You're taking away a major source of income. Like, I totally get it. Whatever. It's an annoying system, but it works for some of those people, and it clearly people like it in America. I'm not gonna go into that. Don't move this dystopia. I'm horrified by this place. I'm so jaded from living in Florida. I don't understand why Tiger King was so shocking. Oh man, Florida's the state that everyone else in America makes fun of, and that's why I'm so fascinated by it. I'm like, oh, I need to know. I need to know what went wrong there and when. You know, that's one of my questions I need to answer in America. Anyway, so but Toycat, how much are your revenues from tips? Exactly right. I'm in the exact same boat. Like, oh yeah, if instead of asking people to tip me, I just instead said, hey, this stream will cost you, this stream is for members only. You pay $2.50 a month to watch, then you never feel obliged to tip after that. Obviously, like, I think overall, you'd probably make, I would probably be on the lower end of that. I would be disadvantaged from that position. But there are some streamers that would love that system way more if that was the norm. Like, oh yeah, if it's that amount an hour, at least we'll make, some fixed amount a month. It's all about reliability versus like peak earnings, right? But anyway, leave that aside. I'm not here to talk about the tipping in America. I'm sorry, I make one jab, and then we get stuck down a side tangent. I was just trying to say, in America, you tip your delivery drivers, and it doesn't make like the tipping any employee is questionable, but tipping a delivery driver doesn't make sense. Besides the argument that they don't make any money, but it's like you can't just not pay people and say the customer has to pay. Like, if you told me that the person who operates the ride at Disney only makes $2 an hour, I wouldn't tip them. I mean, I guess I would if everyone else... See? If everyone else is doing it, I guess maybe I'd be like, oh, I guess this is how it is now. But I feel bad knowing that I'm sure there's a bunch of people who I haven't tipped in America that I was meant to, that I should feel awful about. I once got on a taxi that cost me an insane amount of money, and at the end it's like, would you like to tip 15, 20, or 25%? It's like, no, the $60 or whatever it was for the ride, that was the... Anyway, stop talking about tipping in America. You know, I want to. I can't. Every single time I mention it, I'm like, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, and then it's like, okay, no, that's not. I get it. America's weird. America's a crazy dystopia. And we're gonna leave it a lot. We're gonna leave it behind. It's gonna be great. Whew. Okay. I literally just got pizza delivered because it's too hot to cook, and the delivery guy was dripping sweat. He deserves my $8. See, right, but like, what I'm trying to say there is, okay, so the reason I brought this whole thing up is because there's a in America, you guys have a trillion delivery apps. There's I can try and name them all: Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates. I'm probably missing some. Do you have Just Eat? I don't know. I think Just Eat's just British actually. But you got a billion food delivery services, right? And the expectation is that you tip via all of these services. But like, again, if we ignore the fact that a lot of those services pay the employees X amount an hour, but if you tip them, they give the tip to the employee, but they pay them less because the employee got tipped. If we leave that to the side, if we just say, okay, that's an edge case scenario, that's weird, that's dumb. But if we talk about that, there's this interesting thing where there's a bunch of apps, and they all have you know, like a tipping thing built in, and you're meant to tip via the app, right? You pay for your food, and then you pay for the employee to deliver the food, etc., etc. But something that gets a lot of people mad is how when you order food via any app, you know, when you do that, you have to like, again, if maybe this is just a UK thing, but I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, because I love when people complain about this. It's one of my things I love to hate. There are very few things I enjoy hating, but I love when people complain about the fees in service apps. Like, oh yeah, you want to order something from, say, McDonald's. Well, the burger is the same price, or it's actually a slightly higher price because there's no offers applied. So your $3.50 food is now $4. But then also you pay like, oh yeah, but there's a delivery fee, which is $2.50. And then also there's a, you know, that's the fee for the delivery. And then there's a service charge, which is another couple dollars because you got to pay for the service, you know, the app that operates all this stuff. And then it's like, oh yeah, on top of that, once you paid those little surcharges, then you pay for something like, oh yeah, well then on top of all those things you pay for a delivery driver, and it's like, so if the delivery charge wasn't paying for the driver, and the you know, the service charge wasn't paying for the driver, like, so I'm the one doing that. But again, if you just say that's fine, so you had a tip on all of that. Something that a lot of people complain about is the idea that, like, oh, I don't see why, if a McDonald's burger costs $4 in McDonald's, why it should cost. Why it doesn't cost $4 to get delivered. Why does it cost, you know, if you add all those things up together, like a $4 burger becomes 10. A $10 pizza can become like 20, you know, like it like seriously adds to the price of the food or whatever. Why do we have taxes on food? Oh yeah, I forgot, in America, taxes are like separate on food, aren't they? I always forget about that one. So like, sorry, you know, just to be more fun here. So you add those fees in, then because they're fees, you add a tax on those fees, right? Because that's how fees work. And then at the end, you're left with this like massive increase, and people are like, but why is it more expensive? And it's something I think about a lot as an example of like something people like to get angry at. And it's something, again, I admitted earlier, I love to get angry at this too. I'm on the exact same you know, train right here. Also, your mic's not muted. Please mute it so I don't have to listen to you. Oh, ouch. You know what? Let's mute my mic for a bit just to see how people react to that one. And so the reason I came out of the store with all those things in my hands, you know, like there was a man with a gun across the street, and he was about to. And that's how I went to prison for 13 years. But thankfully I got out because there was a little bit of a... Yeah, and that's how I got back into YouTube streaming. But I have to be very careful about revealing my prior offenses because otherwise people learn about exactly what happened there. So yeah, apparently my mic muted for some of that story. Oh, that's, yeah, probably trolls. I reckon everyone heard every moment of that. That was my best story of the evening, I'd say. That was, that's something I don't like to talk too much about, so I hope you'll forgive me if I don't tell that story again. Anyway, finally some real gameplay about that toy cat guy. You know what? Wouldn't this be so much better if it was just like this? Wow, isn't this glorious? You know, actually, it'd be way better if it looked like this, right? Can we just have orange square instead of face cam from now on? That's the dream, right? That's the dream. Toy cat, you're probably unaware of this, but your mic is muted and some of the story we couldn't hear. Wait, I'm gonna do a little test. So I've got a live stream view account. I'm gonna see how much it goes up while there's no face here. I'm convinced there's some number of people who would love to watch a live stream, but don't watch it exclusively because they look at me and they're like, "Ooh, I don't like the look of that fella. I don't want him over here." Anyway, so the whole reason I was talking about the food thing, I apparently, again, whenever like British person talks about American tipping is apparently the most hated side tangent to go down. But you know, one more time, shall we? Should we explain how playing? No, I'm not going to. But the interesting thing about like fast food apps is the way deeper conversation on that, because it feels like a scam when you pay more for food. It feels like a scam when you pay more for something than it's worth to get it delivered. But the delivery is the service, right? Like that's the reason it costs more. Like, and it's kind of interesting because. In the UK at least, and before Uber Eats and Deliveroo and like, again, the equivalents of your same apps, people were used to free delivery. Like, why would you ever pay for delivery when some places do it for free? Like, it just feels better to get delivery for free because, you know, people like that. It's, if you could pay £2 for delivery or get it for free, you could. But in reality, there's no such thing as free delivery, right? The concept is it's just bundled, you know, like, also, you know, I'm going to come back. This is for you. Hello, I missed you. Your face cam is muted. I'm forgetting what you look like. This is bad. You know what? You all have short-term memories. That's real concerning right there. But yeah, the real service is like the real service there is the delivery, but like, and by calling it free, you're like, oh yeah, so people just get used to the idea that delivery is this like added on thing. Like, oh yeah, of course the restaurant wants to get that food to me, so they're gonna pay to get it over here. And it's kind of weird because, as a result of just so many places saying free delivery, when what they really mean is like, we bundle it into the cost of our food. Effectively meaning that if you don't get your food delivered, you're just paying more at any free delivery place. Which by the way, my life pro tip, like, any place that offers something for free, just means that you're paying for it whether or not you use that thing. Like, you know, if you ever gone on an airline that has free luggage, what that really means is you're paying for luggage whether or not you have it. Or like you're subsidizing other people's luggage because your ticket could be cheaper without the addition of luggage. When, you know, when you go to a, when you go somewhere, you know, I know that's, the free delivery one's a great example. If there's a place that has a free salad bar and you don't get the salad bar, some of your meal cost went to the, you know, went to that salad bar that you then did not use. And that's why I think, like, being able to pay for things, like, separately, very great idea, personally. I know you meant bad short-term memory, but the idea of roasting someone having short-term memory is hilarious. Oh, wait. That's a good idea. I'm gonna take not the meaning of what I said, but the words and be like, yeah, you have short-term memory. That's hilarious. That means that you'll remember this roast in 5 minutes. I won't remember, and I'm gonna roast you again. It's gonna be great. Like, free postage is incorporated in the cost. Oh yeah, that's the best example too. Like, for some reason, it's mostly Amazon, right? But like, we're so used to the concept of things getting to our houses for free. When in reality, that is not how it works in the slightest. Though we're like genuinely annoyed when that's not true. And it's Andrew, did you see the speedrun seed Dan Robs found? He just posted a video. It looks really legit. Hey, thank you, James Seguenis. I'll have to give it a check out soon, obviously. I'm honestly, after yesterday, I think I legitimately was like, this is it. This is speedrunning done for me. I will never have a seed that good again in the random seed category. We might try set seed in a far off future. But yeah, it was a fun little thing to dive back into. I think the cool thing about speedrunning is it improves your skills for the rest of Minecraft, so I'm glad I did that. But view count went up when Toycat Space Cam went back up. I think because I don't really announce these streams as much as I probably should. I don't know, like because the streams are just whenever they are, a lot of people just find them while they're live. Like, we'll start with like 500 viewers and then we'll go up to anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000 or... Yesterday we got 4,000 viewers because people just like find it on their homepage. It's a much more dangerous way of streaming because you're obviously relying on, you know, YouTube to send that to people. But also it means that like we gain as we go forwards, which is nice. It's like a form of progress, you know? Who doesn't love progress? Beacon Mining Mason Hangout with Toycat is yes, as Brandy Rust. Hey, you know, I would love to go mining for some stained clay. I don't know why I've never done that yet. Or terracotta. Hardened terracotta? I'm not sure. If you want a cat, I'd stay away from the USA. Oh yeah, right now the USA is like I like America a lot, but now is like objectively one of the most dangerous times to be visiting America. But I also think like I'll take that risk in my stride because that's nice. It's also super frustrating like the process I have to go through for let's call it visa reasons. You know, staying in the Middle East for 14 days or in Turkey, which is arguably partially it's a whole thing, right? Want to hear a funny joke? YouTube notifications. Hey. So when I order my Chinese takeaway, I get it from a place with free delivery, and the overall cost is cheaper than if I pay $2.50, says Damien Hills. Yeah, I think that's what you should objectively be doing. Every time you look at two things, one which has something for free and one which doesn't, is work out like, well, how much would that thing cost me otherwise? Because, you know, like, sometimes it generally is they're bundling into the cost of doing business, but usually it's you, the consumer, that ends up paying, because unless their profit margins are so big they can just sustain having a delivery driver and everything else, then it's usually fine. But yeah, so there's this interesting thing, like, people always like to complain about the cost of delivery, right? Whenever delivery is not free, and every one of the delivery apps I just mentioned in America, Grubhub, DoorDash, I don't know them all, I'm sorry. Postmates is something I hear about all the time from YouTube ads. But they all charge you for delivery, which is like this foreign concept that we're so non-used to. But it's in reality, it's like, well, you know, if you don't want to pay it, you can still go to the place. It's not an option. And then some restaurants are upset because they don't make that money. Like, the delivery fee doesn't go to the restaurant, it goes to the drivers. And sometimes the restaurant even takes some of the food money from the restaurant as like, in addition to their service fee, in addition to the delivery fee. And people feel like that is really, you know, mean and bad. And I think this is a great example of like, honesty. I've said this before a million times on this channel. I think honesty is really quite important. Also, danger money. Because of the danger in America. I have considered, like, I still haven't looked into it right now, because it's going to make me sad. But the cost of travel insurance to the US right now is going to be, like, insane for 3 months, which is how long I'm going to be there, so I'm looking forward to not going through that. Free delivery for most places if you spend $10 and pay $10 a month for their premium service. Oh yeah, wait, there's a version of that in the UK, but they stopped it recently. Like Deliveroo, which is like the UK's version of all those things I just mentioned. We have a version of that, but also it's not available for me. Like I want to complain about that sometime, but it's literally just a complaint that no one's gonna be interested in. So I won't do that. But I'd like it to be known right now. I would love to complain. I'm not doing so for your benefit, because no one's gonna understand what Deliveroo Plus or Deliveroo Premium is. But I got turned down. Like I can't buy a service that I'd love to because I order too much food. Anyway, so. Well, I've been ordering too much food recently because it's a pandemic. What are you gonna do? You gonna make your own food? No, you're gonna get it delivered to your house, because that's the fat monster you are. That's my internal voice, at least. Anyway, so I think honesty is really important, because a lot of people really, really, really despise the idea of paying money for food at a restaurant and knowing that money's going somewhere else. Knowing that, oh yeah, like, when you pay $11 for your pizza, Grubhub or whatever, I don't know, it doesn't matter. You know, like, they're taking 20, 30%, right? That is a concept that really, really upsets people. People don't like being lied to. And people often, like, take that, like, a step too far, and they're like, oh yeah, they're lying to us. And also, not only they're taking money, but that money that they're taking makes those businesses unable to survive. Also, I missed a South African Rand message from Jan van der Meer. So, Kat, I know this is off topic, but what is your story for how you got your name today? Also, how do you think the person getting tipped feels? Are they for it or against it? Maybe getting a high base salary. Oh, we're going to talk about tipping? Oh, what's that? What's that? My American don't like talking about tip people. I eat a lot of food. I rarely cook anymore. Yeah, same is a loser. Is a not very good chef. Wait, every time instead of saying your name, I'm just gonna abbreviate it to whatever the joke is, and that way I can keep my high quality jokes coming all day. Anyway, so honestly, I think again, I literally do make a substantial amount off of tips, right? I am without realizing it overnight. I became a tipped. I'm not an employee though. I'm a tipped freelancer. If you enjoy what I do, you can throw me a couple quid. If you don't enjoy what I do, you don't throw it. If you enjoy what I do, but you just don't want to give it some money, you don't have to. I'm going to be very careful about this bottom layer down here. I'm going to keep in mind that there's lava down there. Let's make this more clear so I don't end up there by accident. But, yeah, as remember the guy who I broke up last week because he wanted a serious relationship? He changed his mind. He's now back in my DMs. Just remember that if someone changes their mind because they've been out of something for a while, it doesn't mean they've changed their mind. It just means they're willing to compromise, which is maybe good. I think being willing to compromise is a good human characteristic, but maybe you disagree. Also, we can kill the hoglet for some more food. Didn't even realize, but we can stay stocked up on our pork chops today. Okay, that's I'm gonna leave this gold block here actually. I don't want to take that with me just yet. But yeah, so I really do think that like every individual tipped employee feels differently about it, because some of them would prefer like the stability of knowing I'm making X amount an hour. Right now, if you have a bad hour, you make less. Bad hour, you make more. If you're a tipped employee at a really nice place, because tipping is based on percentages. You know, I wish YouTube tipping was based on percentages. Like, hey, tip me a percentage of your income right now. Give me 0.01%. You know, you can't make that money unless you watch this high quality live stream where I mine my ancient debris bastion thingy, right? Yep, those words added up. My English gets like that. That would be weird and dumb, right? Like, wait, no, even though technically speaking, yeah, there's a link. You wouldn't be like that. But whole point, I'm just trying to say is because it's based on a percentage. I think people who work at like higher end places like it more. People who work at cheaper places like it less. I think we've even like every time this comes up in chat, someone's like, yeah, I feel bad about only giving X amount, you know, when it's a cheaper thing. You're not a tipped
freelancer. You're a tax man. Here's
the
tax.
Thank you, Act David, for 0.1% of your income. You know what? Just wait. If that was true, that would mean you earn £39,660 a year, right? Although I'm assuming in a different currency. You know, I like to believe, I know that was probably just a random amount, or it's $50 in pounds. I like to believe that you're literally just there like, oh yeah, 0.1% of your income, credit card details coming in. I make 1% tips my job, so it's going to be even lower now. That bring me back to serve an empty building. So yeah, that's another element, right? Like, because like the tipped employees who really liked it before, now that there's fewer customers, they're in like okay. Whenever someone is employed, a lot of people think that if someone employs you, they're stealing your labor. Like if Walmart hires you for $7 an hour, they're logically making at least $8 or $7.01 an hour because they're stealing that extra cent off you. When you know, let's pick a small store, because if you pick Walmart, it's always a nebulous concept. But like if I hire you to clean my floor, or not clean my floor, if I hire you to make burgers for my restaurant that I've just started, this independent restaurant, I'm gonna be giving you $7. That's not legal in America. I'm gonna give you $70. Screw it. You know what? I'm a wealthy business owner. But if I give you $70 an hour and the restaurant makes a profit, you can assume that I've made at least $1 on, or like at least a cent. No, I'm making at least $70.01 for every hour you work, or I'm losing money on you and I'm a bad businessman, right? That's what a lot of people come to the logical conclusion. But okay, so we can't go any blocks lower, or that happens. But in reality, what's happening is like the business owner is taking the risk on your behalf. Like in reality, that's like gambling capital. People call it capitalism. It's because like capital is one of the factors of production that is needed for the modern world. So if you want to farm beans, actually you need land to farm beans. If you want to like forage nuts in the wilderness by yourself, you can do that without any capital being needed. If you want to make a burger, you need a burger grill. A burger's made on grills. Again, you know, I don't understand business. That's why I pay my burger flippers $70 an hour. But anyway, my point here is that the actual thing you're getting is like because you're getting a fixed amount an hour, that risk isn't on you. You are either being paid as an employee or you're not. Whereas if you own your own business, you can work, you know, for like people who own their own franchises, because McDonald's franchises are owned by individual people, will often work for below minimum wage. People who own like a convenience store will work for below minimum wage because they're working for themselves, right? Like there is no one paying them money. They just make the profits of their business. If they pay someone else to do their same job, they have to give them a fixed amount of money, which is great. Like, okay, they pay someone $8 and that person makes them $8.50 now. But then what happens when that person makes them $7.50 now? They still pay them. They pay them for as long as they can until they can't anymore because it's essential to the business. You're making like you're getting a fixed amount an hour, but in exchange there's no risk. Normally if you start like a store, like again, let's say it costs $100,000 to build that. If the store goes out of business, you lose $100,000. If you work at a store making, again, I don't know why I picked $8 an hour, like $18 an hour. Then when that store goes out of business, the only thing you lost is your source of income, your ability to make $18 an hour. You're not out your entire life savings, and that's the reason why, even though they're making that amount, it's because of the investment they put in, the capital level. That's the thing you can critique, the capitalism of the element, the fact that because they saved that money, or maybe you don't think they saved the money, maybe you think they got it from a bank because they, you know, have something credit, or maybe they got the money from they inherited it or something. These are usually the edge cases, but like those are the scenarios where someone just has money and can therefore use it to make more money. But yeah, that same thing applies to waiters, servers, etc. Right? Like, if you're a server at a restaurant, you get paid $2 an hour, right? But then you also get paid a percentage of the food that goes through there, which again, as a customer, I dislike because I'm not used to that where I am. But as a server, you might really like that because it means if you serve a lot of tables and you have generous people that give you a high percentage as opposed to a low percentage, you can make a lot of money. Again, I went to a steak place in DC on my first America trip, maybe my second America. The second time I went to America was like 2016. I had like a really successful month on YouTube, and I was like, I'm gonna buy a real nice steak myself. It was like 100 or something like that. Plus it was like 20 for a side and a drink. So the tip at the end, if it was 15%, was $20-ish, I think. Or it was like, I think maybe $18 or $19. That guy just made $19 in that 20, 30 minutes. If he does that repeatedly, $50, $60, $70 now. But then the trade-off there is he's taking the risk because the risk there is that if there's no customers because, say, a global pandemic comes out, then that's the whole thing. And that's the downside. Like, even though there is an upside to tipping, that upside comes with its own downside too. The upside is, you know, like, it's probably the same here. I don't have the exact stats, but I'm sure fewer people tip your boy the cat because they're like, oh yeah, something, I don't have a job. So in fact, a lot of people have said that, like, oh yeah, I love supporting the streams toy cat, but I can't be a member or whatever anymore because I do not have a job. And that's the risk you take. And usually employees are immune from risks. And that's one of the big issues. That's the big, like, kind of, that's the real issue underlying all these debates. That all these big debates we're really having are that, like, should someone who doesn't have a, you know, like, there is a group of people who have big investments. Like, they're not just like making money. They're like, they have a lot of their stuff in something, and then there's people who are at arm's length from it. Like, if you work for Whole Foods, you don't really care about Whole Foods' success. If you work at Target, do you care about Target's success? Like, do you think the Target employee... Actually, I guess the Target employees, because they wouldn't be hired anymore. But, like, unless something disastrous happens, you're not really so bothered. You might care about the company's failure, because you'll lose your job. But do you care about its success? If, you know, if you work for... Again, McDonald's, a steakhouse, whatever. Do you want them to be successful? You don't really. It's not a big thing, right? So anyway, my point here was just that the real big debate here is like, how do we actually make everyone? Because you know, you're more productive when you care about something, when you're invested in it, when you have risks as a downside for something going wrong. If people don't have any reason not to want society to fail, they make society fail. This is what you really see when you see giant, you know, protest, like, not protest, but like, let's go the full rioting length, right? Like, if these people feel like they have no reason to want society to do well, so they're willing to burn it down. Some people are just there because they love chaos, sure. Some people are there because they want to benefit, get some free stuff. But some people are just like, yeah, I have no interest in, you know, society doesn't have my back, I don't have society's back. That's like the much larger version of that same thing. Like, why should you care about a society that doesn't care about you? And in reality, like, the world can never actually care about you, i.e. not every participant, not every single other human can care about you, nor can we all collectively choose to care about everyone. But it still hurts whenever, if it feels like for no good reason you've been picked out as not being cared about, based on whatever immutable characteristics or whatever. And that's why people go crazy for things. And that's why you generally don't see it in areas where people own businesses or whatever. Because those people, you know, those people's like, even though they have more upside potentially, more gain, they also have a lot more downside when things go wrong. Whereas if you lose your job, you don't lose your life savings as they exist right now, which is a very interesting change in my opinion. Gyms often have memberships where your fee goes down based on how often you go, says Jackson Weller. That's a really, honestly, I love that as a concept. I think that, like, again, there's a similar thing where there's health insurance you can get in the UK. So just to clarify, in the UK you don't need health insurance because it's all government funded, but you can get private health insurance if you want to, like, go higher than that. Are you going to destroy my little tower? It's going to upset me a lot if you do that. I just want you to know that. You can do it anyway, of course, Gast, but just know I'd be very upset. Okay, let's just go into here. Start mining from here. But yeah, I really like the idea of, like, I really like the idea of anything where people start to, like, people benefit and, like, want to better themselves and also better the something. Maybe that's just me. Like, again, we have health insurance in the UK where your health insurance premiums go down if you exercise more. They give you a free, I think it's an Apple Watch, maybe. Look it up, actually. It's called Vitality. They give you a free Apple Watch, and then if you walk a certain number of steps in a day, you get a very slight reduction. And obviously, if you do it a bunch of times, then it's a whole thing. Surely in the UK, tips are a bonus as you're paid the minimum wage, or at the very least bumped up to a reasonable level. Yeah, my mother actually is a waitress. I don't know if she made minimum wage or, like, above minimum wage, but she got paid, like, real people money that people who work real people jobs get. But then additionally, sometimes people would, like, because in the UK it's like, you give people money if they did an exceptional service, or just, even if it's, like, particularly good, or it's, you know, like, you're feeling generous. You tip a little bit on the top, like, you know, an extra 5-10% here, there. I'd say 10 is, like, the common thing here. You know, it's like, even then, there's some people I've met who are just, like, oblivious to the whole concept. But, like, as a result, like, yeah, you make a normal amount if things go badly. And then you also make a bunch of money in cash, which is, by the way, not taxed. And people love that for that reason, right? My work's the same way. We get discounts in our insurance for hitting step goals. Yeah, that's a cool system. That's a system where people are encouraged to make, like, you should be rewarded for making something better. I like, personally, I feel like, actually, this is what loyalty programs effectively are for a store. a loyalty program tracks what you buy and spend. When you buy things that are particularly profitable, like airlines do this a lot. If you buy something that's really profitable for an airline, you'll get like a bunch of, you get basically a bonus.
You should use this to tip your mods. Thumbs
Hey.
up.
I've got to tip my mods. Okay, how are we doing this? We need a mod to work this one out. I think if you're tipping mods, it's like tipping I don't know, like a prison guard or like the police, where like it gets the bribery real fast. Like, hey guys, I'm gonna ban you unless you give me some real good money. I think I'm tipping too much. The waiting staff at Alton Towers got at least 10%. I need to know what it's like to stay at Alton Towers sometime. Like, I have this like horrific image in my head, but it sounds like you had a nice time, so I need to hear about that sometime. Yeah, I feel like whenever you tip someone who has a position of authority over you, like, some people say tip your waitress, waiter, or they'll spit in your food, and it's like, first of all, Jesus Christ, like, are you really only gonna tip under the point of threat? Second of all, it's like, if that was true, I would be the guy who's like, I'm willing to stand up to you. Yeah, spit in my food. I'm willing to... Honestly, if they gave me that offer right there, like, hey, you get a 10% discount in exchange right now, I'd be like, well, is spit contagious? Is spit contagious? Is spit contagious? While the risk of serious infection from someone else's blood or saliva is low, you should take the immediate... Oh, okay. What if you get it in food, though? Is spit contagious from food? Can coronavirus spread through food? You know what? Why did I look this up? I'm going to go back to my view of the world where spit wasn't contagious. So spit isn't contagious. That Google search was made up by Bill Gates. Everyone loves saying Bill Gates these days, right? He's the one. He does all this stuff. We all know it. He makes people fear spit in their food because he owns the tipping industry. There we go. So anyway, if you're like, hey, I'll spit in your food and you get a 10% or a 20% discount, because some people tip. I know some people who tip like 35%, 35% discount for spit in my food. Yes, spit in my food. Spit in my food all day. This is me one of those things. I just realized now people are gonna clip that. Using the word contagious wrong. I've never spit in someone's food. There's no benefit from that. Overcharging them for stuff works best for revenge. That's like, I think the best simple way to deal with people you don't like. Like, oh yeah, I'll continue to work with you, but I'll charge you more. Like, I've always felt like, there's like two sides of the same coin we see. One is like bakeries that are like, I refuse to make a cake for your gay wedding or whatever. And then there's also like, if you take the reverse, where it's like, I'm refusing to make a cake for you because you're wearing a whatever, or you're not wearing a mask, or like like taking something like that. And obviously, like, people shouldn't be discriminating on those grounds. But I also think, one, it's a bad idea to be if you're trying to buy a cake for someone who doesn't want to give it to you, best idea not to, regardless, right? But second of all, the best thing to do would be like, if you don't want to do business with someone, just be like, hey, I don't like you. Here's a higher price for you. Get out of my way. Like, here's a $1 charge if you're not wearing a mask, for instance, right? That would be the simplest way to make people be like, I'm gonna do this now for myself. Like, doing a thing because you feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna benefit from this personally. Which is dumb that people have to feel that way. But I've always felt like the two things you need to make every action do if you want to convince people to do it is convince them it's good for themselves and convince them it's good for other people. Everyone knows wearing something over your face, good to hide other people from that whole ordeal. They won't spit in your food if they don't tip, because you don't tip until you already ate your food. But like, if you look like a non-tipper, or like you're someone who, oh god, oh lord. Also, thank you very much, Workbench9. Hey Toycat, I do pro motocross and I fell off a jump and put in a coma. I remember seeing your videos, my coma dreams, lol, and Toycat hacks. Next time I pay a fee if you're straight. Yeah, right. If someone wants to be like, hey, here is a straight tax, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna go. I'll go somewhere else and I'll feel like I'm the one making the smart decision. Wherever someone says, oh yeah, this is the, I'm not gonna do this because this is the LG bakery. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like, you'd be like, oh yeah. Like, when you put the onus of someone to do something, they feel like they're the clever person. Whereas when you just say, hey, you have no choices, people like freak out, and people freak out and they get like, in, you know, a little, maybe understandably, but no one wants to be forced into doing something, right? Also, oh god, I am just like, I hate all the gas. I need to go get another bow and a bunch of arrows probably. Because the amount of time I spend not mining because I'm so terrified of being hit is too high, right? The B in LGBT stands for bakers. Oh my god. I think I've just come up with the best business idea ever. LG Bakery TQ Plus. Wait, LG... I'm going to work it out. The business model is incoming. Because I think... and then just like, hey, you get a discount if you're a thing. And everyone who doesn't love to be a thing. And everyone's like, yeah. This is the worst idea. I'm going to get in trouble with someone. I think I've said something that's gonna be bad for someone here, and I just want to clarify: all opinions here are not my own. These are for humor only. There we go. I think I'm covered now. Gave a nice disclaimer. I didn't say anything that I identified with there. OMG, the T can stand for tea. Oh, bakery and tea. There we go. I think I've just started my own little cafe. I know. I'm just saying. Turn the B into bankery, and we can combine two ideas. I'm a baker here. I'm a bank and the bank. Oh yeah, the bankery, like Shravya, exactly. Same thought at the same time. I realized, or maybe I read your thing and like subconsciously turned it into my own. This is the worst thing. I hate when this happens, because like when it happens to me, I'm generally mad at the person. Like I wanna throw fists when people do this to me, where you say something and everyone else goes quiet, and then someone else says it, like they take your exact joke that you just said, or your exact clever, witty thing, and then everyone starts laughing. I'm legitimately like, you know, Western civilization was a mistake. This is you know, I'm willing to see this all burn down now. This is not okay. Also, thank you very much, Resurrection. YouTube super chats are not showing on stream in case you didn't know. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, okay, so I missed one from Hoping. They're not showing on my thing either. I wonder why not. They just stopped halfway through. So, Hoping, I'm going to get to you in a second after mod appreciation. See, mod appreciation, okay. Mod bribery, not okay. Glad we understand. Keep up the good work. Made a tweet about the other day about the adulting thing. Please get back to me if you want/can. I still want to know so bad, like, what that means or how, but I am very curious. Resurrection. Thank you very much for that. Oh, by the way, you are Mr. Mod the Resurrection, right? I'm not getting you confused with someone else who exists in the world. Anyway, so thank you for the mod appreciation. I'll send it over to the mods. Mods, here is some appreciation. I wish you could throw money at people. Like right now, the problem with money is like, oh god, okay, that money's gonna be gone now. I'm gonna pick that up in like 3 months and it's gonna be great. I'm gonna have found money. But mod appreciation, no thank you, I prefer vanilla Minecraft. High quality, high quality. You missed one of my streams. Oh, okay, wait, I got this. I didn't miss the danger money one, I think. I think we got there, like, too late. I didn't get it. I was like, or maybe I did. It's like for America, right? Or maybe I missed one after that. But yeah, no, I got one from Hoping. Oh no, I lost it, it's gone now. So Hoping says, if Penguin wage is too hard for small businesses, allowing the rest to be made up by client tips, let those businesses afford to hire people, then more people get a job. Also, orange squared equals yes. So you're saying that, if, like, by allowing businesses to pay employees less, you allow them to hire more people? See, there's a really interesting thing, though, as to, like, do you want more jobs or do you want better jobs? And it sounds like a simple thing on the surface that, like, oh yeah, I'd rather have more people be paid a better wage than, you know, like, more people not have a job. But something I think about all the time, like, this is, again, this is like one of those always going on struggles in the world. Like, it's the most basic economic thing, but it's also, every single time it comes up, it's like real humans are a real situation. But there are certain jobs, usually there's something union involved, but like, not always. There are certain jobs that are like very, very, very highly sought after. So there are lots and lots of people who want them. And as like, because of the very, you know, again, everyone knows demand, supply, More demand for something, higher the price. More supply for something, the lower the price. High demand and high supply, you can get higher prices. Low demand, low supply, you can also average the same thing. But high supply and low demand means low prices. Okay, there we go. We're good on that. So there are some jobs, like for instance, the biggest example is it's called cabin crew for an airline. There are like some employees that an airline has to have, like when the plane is flying. You can't just have pilots. You have to have a certain number of people for safety reasons. It's like international regulations. Also, hey, Ryan Bennett, good to see you. Super chats aren't working. We shouldn't have to choose between more and better. But you like fundamentally do. That's like how basic economics works, right? Because we have finite resources. When we get to infinite resources, then we don't have to choose between more and better. But that's how because of production matrix, like we can choose between having, you know, let's pick a single item, just to be really simple here. We can be like, oh yeah, how many tons of, I don't know, black beans can we make? And it's like, we can make 150 million tons if we dedicate all of humanity to that. And it's like, oh, but what if we don't dedicate all of humanity to that? And we just make as many black beans as we probably need. It's like, oh, we make 10 million black beans, and now we have 140 million black beans worth of production to spend on other things. But because there's only finite land, there's only finite capital, there's only finite humans, which is like all the factors of how you make anything happen. We do fundamentally have an issue of finite, right? It's weird because we're like moving more into a world where money doesn't make sense, and it seems therefore like if money doesn't make sense, let's just give it to everyone, right? And I totally agree. If money didn't make sense, it's hard to disagree with that one. But like, if we at least pretend that money is real, which I think is probably a good idea for the foreseeable future, then there is a certain amount of it, and you have to allocate where it's all going. And obviously, no human can allocate all of the money on Earth where it's all going. Even within a country, no human gets to decide that. Like even when you have the most brutal dictators, they don't decide where all of the money goes. They make broad allocations about who decides where all the money goes. Which, you know, and then those people often do so for their own personal favor. But like, even then, there's no one person that decides where everything goes. It's like we're all collectively making decisions, and there is like a few big entities who have more say than the rest of us over how those decisions are made. Be it your governments, your whatever else. Also, thank you very much to Hoping. I explicitly disagree. Burnings increase minimum wage for the reason. Again, the thing is, you're effectively saying there that like there is a real argument to be made. Again, I'm personally not in favor of it, but like there's an argument to be made that it's better to have fewer jobs that pay more than to have more jobs that pay less. You can obviously theoretically do both, but then you need to expand the economy to do that, and also you need to change up a lot of things to make that happen. But I don't want to talk politics, by the way. Like I'm talking about someone who's not running for president right now, and I don't care. This is American politics. Literally, I don't care about your domestic issues. I just want America to have a president that doesn't hate British people. Does that sound good? That sounds good to me. Okay, there we go. That's my political biases. I just want to mention real quickly that the actual decision you have to make in there is like which one you want more. And there's a really good argument that like, wouldn't you prefer having a bunch of people living really great lives, doing a thing that they like, and then everyone else can go do something else, find a thing there, like, you know, having it. What is the real equality in that situation? And again, then you have to be like, well then you could, what if we paid literally everyone the same? And then it's like, oh yeah, if you paid literally everyone the same everywhere, then but you still have to bring some people down. Anyway, you know what, whatever, this is a whole thing we're talking about. So no economic arguments today. Let's talk about someone gave you £140, please acknowledge them, says Saucy Sardine. No, it's 140 South African rands, friendo. I think I acknowledged them anyway though, so I don't know what you're saying. Also, it's not on my screen anymore, but I think I got them right. It was the person asking about something about tipping. But you know, we're out of tipping. We're the tipping zone is gone. Oh wait, no. Okay, this is something that bugs me. This is a UK specific issue. So there's two jobs in the UK that are wildly paid higher than their demand. Like, so there are two things you can get, right? There's two jobs that pay more than they would in a, you know, like a free market. One is like, if you want to be cabin crew for an airline, you make, like, particularly if it's an old airline, not if you work for Ryanair or EasyJet, but you can make a bunch of money. But there's like thousands of people who want to do this, who apply to do this job, and only a few of them can actually get through. And in reality, now what it is if you've had this job since like 2010, you don't make good money anymore. You make barely minimum wage. And in reality, people still sign up even when they're only making barely minimum wage, because the real benefit isn't the money. The benefit is being able to travel around the world for free. Not only when you're on your job, but also when you're off the job. So there's just loads of people who want this job. Even, you know, I think in reality, you could literally lower the pay to 0 and some people would still be hyped to do it. But, so as a result of like the average, you know, because of something contracts, let's not dive into it too much, but because a lot of people are on older contracts, they make 3, 4, 5 times, you know, they make healthy, you know, like, amounts, like, you know, very high 5 digits, despite the fact they have people making barely minimum wage, just because they've been doing it so long. And then there's a real argument about, like, well, what do you do about that? You could, the most ruthless business thing to do there would be to fire all these people who are making all that money, because for every one, you know, like, old-time employee you fire, you can hire 3, 4, 5, you know, new guys working minimum wage that are excited for that job, by the way. But then you're being the monster that fires people just to save some money. The other option is like, oh yeah, offer them a pay cut. But that's basically the same thing as firing them at that point, right? These people won't find new work in that same field. And then it's just like, but then, and then in reality, you're like, okay, so we keep them forever. But then it's like, oh yeah, but every other airline that starts today doesn't have to do it. And you just get stuck in this situation where people's jobs values change over time, and no one likes to hear that. Like, because in reality, if your job value went up, very few times do you get an increase, right? Like, how many times can you recall being paid more? But yet no one ever wants to be, and it's a whole thing. Also, hello everyone. But the other job, this is can I talk about for like 5 minutes here? Because this is a Toy Cat rant stream. I'm sorry. I know everyone hates that. So we'll talk about cake, and we'll talk about riding a scooter or something. How about 0-hour contracts? See, right, that's another interesting thing. If like they seem super evil and bad on the surface, and like if it was a situation where people would only be hired on them, it'd be worse. But like, you know for sure. But no, I want to talk about this, like, it's very UK specific, even London specific, because there is a job in the UK that pays insanely well, like, and it's driving trains. And you might think, wait, what, Toy Cat? Yeah, so driving trains, it's a job that has no skill. You don't need to go to university. You don't need to be trained. You just have to operate a train, forwards, stop, open doors, close doors, forwards, stops. I think there are some signals you have to learn. I'm like pretty sure. And because of, like, every bit of track is obviously different. But these people, the people that do this, are paid in excess in some cases. Like, you can look into this. Some of them make literally 6 figures a year, and in pounds, I think £100,000 is like $125,000. But in reality, that was like $200,000 until like 8 years ago, and like $150,000 till like basically, like, these people are getting paid like insane in some cases. And the reason for it, because you might be like, so what's the deal there? Is because it's in their, like, when there is a new position, they don't allow anyone to apply unless you already know an existing member of staff. If you would like to be a train, you know, a tube driver is what it's called. If you want to drive these underground trains through the ground, you know, you'd have like pretty light work weeks. You make insane amounts of money. Like, again, $100,000 for an unskilled job, I don't think exists anywhere else. Sadly, you know, maybe that's the problem. But and the reason why, because it sounds like a good thing, like, on the surface, but it means that no one can apply for that job unless you already know someone who is a tube driver. And even then, you have to wait for someone to retire or for them to need new people. And then they only hire from people they already know. Like, oh yeah, if you want to move up in a job, we'll get you first. Then we'll try and hire one of your relatives or a friend or something. They don't do, there's no, like, job posting site where they ever look for people, because it's all like, the only way it exists is the people in the system, which is great, because those people in the system then make, again, solid salary. Again, six figures a year, like 100, like making that amount of money for a job that is not skilled is amazing. But it means that the downside, the thing you're giving up in exchange for that, is that there's no mobility. It's all about who you know, not about your skill, not about how good of a driver do you want to be, how passionate are you about the underground. No, what matters is you need to know the people in the system. And this is sadly where any system, if you defy, like, you know, the laws of the world, the laws of economics, what actually ends up happening is you end up in a system where, again, that once you have more demand than supply, you've got to pick people somehow. And if it's for a job where there's very little, if it's for a job like that where there's no real way, you know, can you be a more productive train driver? Not really. So instead they're like, oh yeah, so it's all based on family stuff. It's all based on who you know. And I've always hated that. Like, we should never use who someone knows as a good indicator of, like, how they are as a person, you know? Like, opportunities should always be available for people who want the opportunity the most, who are willing to, you know, maybe work for the opportunity the most. Not the people who happen to have already been doing that back when it was good. And yeah, that's something that makes me, like, I think, like, some people ask, like, again, what's like your big thing, Toy Cat? Like, sometimes I, like, slide around a bunch and people are like, oh, you don't seem to stand for something. Oh, because you look at every issue individually. But the one thing I really stand for is, like, openness and honesty. I think, like, loyalty is a good thing too. Like, I don't think you should fire employees just because they're not good at this right moment. Like, having a contract of, you know, like, in the same way, even if I decided live streaming wasn't fun, I wouldn't just stop right then. I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna try and go through a little more for, you know, like, there's a lot of being loyal to people you know or care about is good. But also, like, honesty and openness. Like, having like, super closed systems seems really good for the people in the loop. But it's really bad for people outside of it. Like, it's the same thing kind of to some extent with in-jokes. You make, like, humor something that is, like, exclusively for a small group. And you also do the same whenever you, like, oh, it is really hot in here, by the way. I didn't realize, but I'm getting absurdly hot. Let's have a little drink. Whew. How many tomatoes have you stolen? Said onion. That's a good way to move off this topic, isn't it? No, I just wanted to say, to finish up what all this is like, the real, like, human thing we should care about, because we always get sidetracked on this. We always get stuck on whatever weird identity barriers we're going to use at a point in time. But the real thing we should care about is people who want something should be able to have a pathway to getting that thing that they want. In as many cases as is humanly possible. That's always been my point. It's getting hot in here. I guess we've got to take off our clothes. In this case, I'm not taking off my New Zealand flag thing. Oh god, it is wet. You can see that. Today, it's like I was in the rain all day today. But yeah, I think you've always got to, like, I think the reason loyalty is so important, it's like the same thing as, like, honesty. Like, it's all under the same thing of, like, try and be a human being that doesn't just take advantage of other human beings. And take advantage of always seems like such a loose term, because people use it for everything. Like, oh, I can't believe those delivery services are scamming me by charging me $3. But it's the same thing where, like, in reality, they're offering you a thing, and you can choose to not do it. In a world where they didn't exist, you would just not be paying $3 and also not getting food. But, like, you know, like, when you say, oh yeah, the option to not do something isn't there, that's when it's awful. That's why that LG bakery refusing to serve me would be bad, but being willing to be like, oh yeah, well, here's your choice. You do this or you do that. You know, if I want to be a train driver on the underground, it should be like, hey, you know, it's unlikely you'll get the job, but, you know, we're going to lower the salary so that only the people who really want to apply. Or, if you don't like that idea, it's like, we'll have a system where people who like it the most will have an annual tube knowledge competition. The people who know the trains the best, they get it or something. I was going to start telling people I was in the rain when I'm sweating. Man, I was in the rain earlier, and people always complain about the rain. Like, this is one of people's biggest complaints about London. It's like how you go through phases of wanting to do live streams. At minimum, you do them on Thursdays because that's the schedule, but you also do them more sometimes. First of all, you're inside my head right there. Second of all, that's literally true, right? Like, on Thursdays, unless there is some physical reason I am outside the country and cannot live stream, even then I've tried to stream before, even though, like, I tried to stream when I was like the edge of America once, and my internet ran out. But like, I try to. I think having like a consistent relationship that's like, hey, every Thursday I stream here on this channel. I also sometimes we have this thing where we mine blocks and we talk about stocks. Damn it, we should talk about stocks. You guys hear about I don't know, Amazon stock's gone up, I've heard. You can tell an Amazon stock's gone up because there's always like a news article that's like, did you know that Jeff Bezos made $100 billion in the pandemic? And you're like, wow, $100 billion and it's like, oh well, he owns the same number of Amazon stocks, but because other people have bought and sold theirs, his have become worth more by. And it's like, oh, so in other words, you're just saying that the Amazon stock went up by $13. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's not as exciting a headline. But because of that, like, I'm intently aware of Amazon stock. Like, I learned this quite recently. If you'd have bought Amazon stock 2 years ago, it would have doubled. If you'd bought it like 5 years ago, it would have times by, well, not, it was maybe 8 years ago. It would have times by 10. If you bought it 18 years ago, it'd be times by 100. Basically, so my real stock advice is buy Amazon 18 years ago. The one thing we can say of certainty, it's all in invisible money. I prefer that, like, as an explanation. Like, the reason he doesn't have it in cash is because Jeff Bezos has a pile of 100 billion fake dollars lying around. They're all just, we don't know where they are. We can't see them. And that's why he doesn't pay taxes. You can't pay tax on money. Like, the government's come around his house many times, and they look for the money, and they're just like, we just can't find any. And he's like, invisible money. This is my new fan. This is my new way I'm seeing the world. If you try to tell me that's not true, I'm gonna tell you that you're not true. Isn't all money actually somewhere? I think there's more money in the world than there is money in the world. Think about that one. Should have told us to invest in Amazon rather than Nintendo in episode 2. Wait, one sec. Okay. I said invest in Nintendo in 2012. Nintendo stock price. If you'd have done that, you would have made from 10,000 yen to... You've multiplied your money by 5 if you listen to my Nintendo advice. If you put your money in Amazon in 2012, you would have made... oh my god, holy Jesus Christ. Okay. You'd have made 15 times your money. Honestly, my investing advice in episode 2 of the Let's Play, not that far off. That's a thing. But, Amazon fanfic. Do you have a podcast? Says Ryan Hansen. Honestly, I don't, just because, like, this is dumb, but, like, the idea of, like, putting together a podcast is like it's like a groans moment, like, oh no. I don't want to be the guy who's put together a podcast. But no, I in reality, these Let's Plays are kind of like, let's hang out, let's talk to the camera, or whatever, but we're also playing Minecraft, and that's kind of fun. I think of, like, every now and then I consider, like, we should slide over, throw another game in here, sometimes too, but there's just something so productive about Minecraft, just something so glorious and beautiful about it. But yeah, what I just simply say is, like, if you like podcasts, I've got a lot of unlisted live streams that are vaguely like them. This is the podcast. It's Julian Coy. Should have invested that 1234. I had my piggy bank back then. But so sliding back to the thing. Yeah, I feel like the real honesty contract here is like, hey, did you know I stream every Thursday, but also sometimes more, depending on if it's fun. We have a fun little relationship. It's very honest and open. I don't do the thing where I'm like, hey, I'm streaming now because I need donations to reach my I'm Going to America fund. You know, and if I was, I'd be honest about what the money's going towards and why. I probably, whenever I do, I'm like soliciting donations for like tips. Gotta always call them tips. I don't like donations. It's got that connotation that, again, I even though I could probably make better money if I was like, hey, do you guys want to donate to the Toy Cat fund? So you call it a fund. Everyone's like, oh, it's a fund, huh? But no, I don't do that. It's very just, here's the deal. It works because some percentage of people decide to not only support by watching, but by being monetary. Because, you know, doing things that are free at the point of use to use are always, it's always like the dream if you can do it, right? Like, something that can be supported just because people want to support the thing, rather than people because they have to. Always a better solution, in my opinion. I've already made hundreds on Square, so I hope that keeps up. What is Square? I want to know. I'm so curious. Oh wait, the announcements. If you like supporting Toycat stuff because you think, you know, you like these live streams, you want to see more. Because in reality, there is some weird mental payoff that also like the easiest way to work out how much people value this is by how many people. The view numbers is one way, the tipping is another way, etc., etc. But because a lot of people like the dumb Toycat merch we've been doing recently, I've actually been working on like, what if we just did some real Toycat merch? And it's going to be dumb real Toycat merch, but it is going to be real. So there is a plan to make potentially a series, but like a series of like motivational truth mugs. That, again, you know the one. We're all going to die. We will all die someday. But also I'm working on a new t-shirt. And by me, I mean my assistant has been making a new design. And I like it a lot. I think it's cute. I'd show you it right now, but I can't. Square is a service for accepting payments. A lot of small businesses use it. How do you know, today I learned that I learned Shantou is a business. That's incredible. Good job. A small business too. It's a card reader that plugs into your phone to accept payment. Some actual stores are using it now as their primary payment method. Oh, that's so cool. I like that a lot. I would love to go in public with one of those little card readers. To this day, by the way. Okay, someone can steal this idea because I think this is just like money making central. I've had this idea forever, right? But why don't go into like a really hot place, you know, somewhere where it is hot, and like you know, where there's a lot of people. I think London, Piccadilly Circus is always filled with people, and when it's a really hot day, people are going to be hot. And if you just offer them, hey, here's £1 for a water bottle, even 50p for a water bottle. Sorry, for my American viewers who can use Square, 50 cents. Actually, probably $1, right? Or $1.50. Actually, yeah, like, if you're doing card, you can be like $1.66. Wait, I guess you'd freak out the Christians of that one. You could go for $1.77. Wait, no, go to Vegas. Go to, like, the Vegas Strip. Walk along it with $7. No, wait, $1.77? Yeah, $1.77 water on a hot day. And everyone's like, wow, I sure am hot. I'll do that. Because you can, like, water, like, everyone always says, like, oh yeah, you need money to start a business. I feel like the simplest business that everyone always forgets about is just buy things from a place, sell them somewhere else. Just buy water from the store, bring it in, like, a cooler, make sure it's, like, fresh and cold, etc., etc. And, after you do that, make money is the next step there. I need to quickly be right back, so I am going to do that, by the way. But I hope you're all having a fun moment here. So let's just put this away. Actually, no, I need to get back and get that blackstone, huh? We're gonna need to do that. But, you mean the entire basis for capitalism. Look, I know, my point, like, it sounds dumb, right? But a lot of people genuinely think you need, and I guess on some level you do need capital, like, most businesses need capital to exist, right? Because the basis of capitalism is that you need capital. But a lot of people forget that, like, the capital to make a business can be so tiny. Like, again, buying a 12-pack of water will cost you, what, like $2 at a store? I don't know. I don't know American water prices. You know, get, like, one of those cooler bags. Or even not, like, it would just get a box and put ice in the box. Ice is free. Throw it in the freezer. It costs you electricity, but, like, ice is functionally free. 12... Now for $2, you can make 12. Then you can buy 12 packs of water, I think. I don't know why I said earlier. And then, like, oh yeah, now you've got like a money making machine. I know it's a thing I've thought about as like a, because there's a lot of like dumb ways to make a little bit of money if you're just like on the spot. And I feel like the one everyone forgets is just people need water. People always think water is like, again, water is like, personally I think like, you should always have some access to water somewhere for free. I used to have this like long stance where I wouldn't buy water no matter how thirsty I was. And I've like almost killed myself because, well, not killed, but like I've almost seriously damaged my kidneys because of like, my body was like shutting me down because I wasn't drinking water. Well, I was like, it's not free. I'm not drinking it. I refused to put, like, even like, it was one time just like €1.50 or something. And I was like, no, charge me €1.50 for water. I won't pay. But recently I realized that like the service they're selling you of water is not the bottle. It's like the easy access to it. Like, you can't have water at every point in the world. Like, right now, I actually have water. Because I'm in my house. But out in public, I can't drink water down south because it makes me sick. Oh yeah, the water here is so hard. I'm so glad I'm used to it because it feels so weird to drink water. And I need to quickly be right back. And by quickly, I mean, who knows when I'll get back. I might even die, right? Because a piglin might spawn in here. Be right back a second. While I'm gone, actually, I want to, so that everyone doesn't get too confused, we'll leave a happy llama on the screen. Yeah, I think that's a better idea. Let's leave a happy llama on the screen. Let's see what people think. Let's see how many viewers we leave because of this.
Can you sub to me? Yes, I explicitly disagree with Bernie's increase in minimum wage for this reason. Unless he also subsidizes the small businesses that can no longer afford the employees.
Check out tax. The rest of the week is supposed to be cloudy, which is not the move. Looking forward to seeing your... Is not the move? What does that mean? Thank you. Servers splitting in food is really... Splitting in food is really a myth. You can sleep safe tonight. Again, I literally wasn't bothered when I thought that they did spit in my food. I was perfectly okay with that. Like, you know, spit in my food, server. Do it. I bet you won't.
If paying minimum wage is too
it's all
hard
just
for
coming
a
back
small
now.
business, Allowing the rest to be made up by client tips lets those businesses afford to hire people and then more people get a job.
We went through
Also,
these ones earlier, by the way,
orange
in case you're
squared equals yes.
curious about them. They're all just coming in at once, by the way, so if you feel like super chatting, now's the time, apparently. I do pro mode cross, and one time I fell off a jump and... Oh, yeah, that's the... Okay, you know what? I remember all of these. I think I can probably stop them from showing up. Nope, I cannot do that. Oh, I can skip them all, though. My bank gave me $60 for free. I have $2 off it. Heck yeah, thank you. Okay, what we can just do is we can, like, slide through. There we go. I pressed the skip button a bunch. Hello, I'm IBX Toy Cat. Is everyone having a good evening? I'm surprised we didn't lose any viewers when I went for a little break over there. Where did I go? Some say there was a fire in my kitchen. Some say that I just needed to pee a bunch. I mean, I have been consuming what was a slush at one point, and it is now just pink liquid. Isn't your birthday a few days ago? Is in a few days? I don't know how I read that as in a few days ago. My brain is not working correctly today, huh? My birthday is in 4 days. I'm celebrating it tomorrow, actually. In case you're curious, you want to know about my life? Tomorrow is my celebration. Two llamas, yes. Some say he's still gone to this day. Boys only disappear like that to poop. I'll have you know. You know, isn't it nice? First of all, I was thinking about this earlier. Like, you know, no, actually, wait. This is no. I'm not gonna. This fort ends here. This fort ends here. How you planning on getting rid of tipping though? Also, orange squared. Oh wait, is that another one that was like from the backlog that's just coming in now? I'm genuinely not sure. Feet and body soap, no dad. Okay, that's what is happening today. So no stream tomorrow. It looks that way. I might do one earlier, but like most likely just no stream tomorrow. Very sad, I know. Yeah, have you tried and do you like Taco Bell? Oh yeah, I really like Taco Bell. Actually no, I really loved Taco Bell when it first came to the UK. And maybe this is just everyone's experience. But every time I go there, it's just so bad and it all tastes the same. It all tastes exactly the same. And also, I don't know what, like, again, I never have issues with fast food employees because, like, you're just doing it. All you need to do is give me my food and take my money from me, you know? Like, there aren't many, oh, like, get me my food, take my money. But at the time, like, I still have this etched into my brain as, like, this is not only an incompetent employee, but an employee that genuinely didn't, it was an incompetent human being, I guess is what I'm saying. Because I went to a Taco Bell after the first one opened in London, and I spent like $10 on a taco because they had like.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Oh, I get it.
Happy birthday to you.
Drunk stream before you go out. I do have a friend coming over for some free drinks, actually. You know, what better way to celebrate my birthday than to monetize it, am I right? They're coming in backwards order, Lamau. Oh! That's even weirder. You say taco, so weird. Oh yeah, Americans are very, very, very offended when I say taco. And that just makes me want to say it more. I'm actually going to Vegas, which is like a huge Hispanic population. So I might end up, like, after 3 months in Vegas, right? I might end up saying, taco. I got my taco from the truck. And the problem is that there's not enough sour cream on it. What's that about? I don't know what that accent is. That's my person who says taco accent. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by myself. The accents are back. I do not know accents from America. I am just a person who speaks mind on internet. One day I fly America, and I see many fun. You'll learn Spanish now. I took Spanish in, I think I've told the story. I took Spanish in high school, and the most dumb thing was that I I was in like I decided to take Spanish as one of my like in the UK you pick 3 options, like as your last like 2 years of study. Like you basically specialize in school in like 3 subjects plus English, maths, and science. And I picked one of mine as Spanish, and the teacher just saw me in the class the first day and went, no, like that sounds like a sarcastic retelling, but she was literally like, no, this isn't gonna work. Like basically laughed. And so I napped my first 3 lessons, and then she transferred me out of the class. And then I did history. Interesting enough, like I was actually really into history. I just didn't consider it to be like a good choice. Like I picked like really smart lessons based on like, you know, employability or whatever. And then I accidentally ended up taking history, which is how I learned about the American West. Now it all adds up together, huh? I took 4 years of German. I personally think that I think honestly teaching German in America is like a cruel thing to do. Like same with Russian, I would even say. Actually Russian, like Russian, French, and Spanish are the 3 other languages. Actually maybe also Mandarin just for China. But like if you want to speak to human beings in this planet, German is not a useful language for you as an English speaker, especially as an American. So yeah, anyway, fun fact, I tried to pick that and it didn't work. It's changed since then. I picked 4 and 1. Oh yeah, just to clarify, it was only 3 because my school was weird and they picked one of mine for me. It's widespread in the UK now. Schools get more funding if they force you to pick one of your options for you, because then they can be cool. I think it's called an academy, right? So my school forced me to pick a subject, and that hurt. And then, oh no, yeah, it was maybe it was 5, and then my school took it down to 4, and then one of my options took up 2 options. Yeah, that's what it was. I had 4 options, but one of my options took up 2 options, and then I did science, and actually, okay, wait, I tell this story a lot because this generally burns me as a human being. Like, I think this is the most unprofessional thing I've ever done and the most unprofessional response I've ever gotten in anything I've ever done in life. Because I was, again, I want to clarify, I was just a depressed, angsty, you know, down with the establishment teenager. Used to have a D&D group in this pandemic. Oh, I'm actually just starting up it again, and then it's probably going to end when I go to Vegas. So that'll be fun. Hey, remember me? I'm the Pesto Guy. Anyway, like the new Realm experiment, I'm DMing a Star Wars custom D&D game. Any story suggestions? No religion, no politics, no Star Wars in polite conversation, friend. No, I'm gonna give the same suggestion I gave someone earlier. That was like, hey, the Earth is like flat, and there's like some like dumb character that thinks it's actually curved, and they get like a, you know, go with like a conspiracy storyline. Everyone loves conspiracies. Good day, mate. Why don't you try an Aussie accent? Ah, I can't do the Aussie accent. They speak real kind of funny in the deep in the front of the house. They do, and they also, I can't do. Australia has so many accents. Like we stereotype like one Australian accent, but there's just so many. But yeah, thank you for the money for the bad accent, Nikki Michelle, by the way. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, but so let me just tell you this real quick. Because I'm still upset about this, like, because I took literally 2 years and I wasted half of my subject choices for this one thing, and then one interaction. I was doing really well at this one thing. I would have ended up with like an amazing qualification that very few people had, and that was gonna like, it was called it was like a form of apprenticeship or whatever. It was gonna be this like super cool thing for my career, especially because like I intended to do things in business. But basically I was doing this really new course, so it was like being funded by this small group of people, like 10 people. Like, so these 10 people like set up the course, they planned it all, they like, you know, they set the requirements, etc. And I did all of those for 2 years. Like, we did 2 years. Like, actually, I played Super Mario 64 for 2 years. I got all 120 stars. So, you know, you might say to yourself, Toy Cat, why were you playing Super Mario 64 in school? But I made more progression in Super Mario 64 in those 2 years than at any other point in my life. So, you know, let's not knock it too early. Anyway, so I spent 2 years playing Super Mario 64, but I did like all of the work enough to like get like to the highest level of this thing. But then, what we did is we did a bunch of trips to places for like business things. And after one of those trips, for whatever reason, one of the members from this thing came into the school, and they asked like, "Hey, you know, tell us about this course, why you're doing it, etc." I had no idea this was one of the people who ran the course. I thought this was just a random like interviewer coming in from somewhere. So I decided to be the edgy teenager that I was, and so they asked like, "So, you know, what made you pick this? Why do you enjoy this?" And every single question they asked, I was like, "I'm just here because I have to be. That's how school works, man. I don't really care about anything they're teaching here, etc, etc, etc." And it turns out I was speaking to like literally the head person who ran the course. Like, and like, you know, they spent a lot of their own money setting this thing up. And I was just there like, I don't care about this. They're just forcing me to do these things. And then I go to a place and I guess that's okay. As a result, like our last trip of the year was going to be to a theme park. For some reason, I don't know how we managed to set this up. We were doing a business trip to a theme park. This was like, I think this is still like, even though I was like, I must have destroyed their hopes and dreams. The way she retaliated, this one person that I upset because I, you know, tore her course to the ground and was, again, arguably unprofessional. She retaliated by taking me off this trip by being like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, you're not going to be allowed to go there." Something. I don't remember what their argument was. They just didn't allow me to go. They're like, "Oh yeah, that business trip only has this many spots, and it's enough for everyone in the class but Andrew." Oh, that's sad. Again, that is petty and vindictive, but whatever. And then also, I didn't get the certificate at the end of the year, so I did 2 years of work for nothing, and I ruined those 2 years of work in one moment or one conversation. And it's a reminder about like, people should do the right things, but sometimes you annoy people, they won't do the right things, and sometimes that'll cost you a lot. And yeah, to this day, it's like, oh yeah, if I'd have just realized who I was speaking to that day, and if I'd have just not been so sarcastic, things would have gone well. But yeah, no, I really do think, looking back at that even though I was you know, I destroyed her life ambition of like teaching kids about business or whatever, but also that was petty. Like, you shouldn't, like, again, I didn't fight it because I didn't care, if I'm being particularly honest. Like, I was, if you've done the work, you should get, yeah, right, like, but because the award was all based on a lot of, like, because they made up the qualification, like, again, it was a weird thing. They got to the side who didn't get it, and so, I didn't get one there. And also, just as a little weird side note on this whole thing, like, it was all like, that's why, like, I mentioned before, I did a school trip to McDonald's once. There was a lot of, like, fun things we did as a result. Anyway, so yeah, me being dumb, lost a lot of stuff. As an adult, she should know better. Man, I would love to be the sort of adult that just, like, makes children have consequences. Like, you shouldn't be that adult. You shouldn't be in... If you set out to, like, educate people, you shouldn't be happy at, like, taking away stuff from people. Like, this is a thing I see so much, where people get into whatever position of power it is, not because they want to make the world better, but because they love enforcing rules on people who don't do good, you know? Like, you know, that's the type of police officer people hate, right? Like, someone who's not interested in making the world a better place, but just loves that, like, you know, like, in any position of power, there's always someone who takes the job, not because they want to make things better, but because they love that they get to punish the people who do bad. Like, oh yeah, I hate when people are doing bad, and now I finally get to punish them. Yeah, I in the schooling system, tell me if I'm wrong here, because this is just my experience. There were some, like, genuinely great teachers who tried their best to, like, actually teach you things. And there were some teachers who just seemed to enjoy... Like, they seem to have lost the passion for it, like, decades ago. And they were just there, like, this is all I can do now. This is what I get paid for. My primary life is outside of this schooling. I don't care if you pass or fail. I'm just here so I don't get... And, I don't know, that... I think it's cool because even though, like... The dream world, like, this is how I think, like, you know, schooling's unequal, that, like, teachers that care probably work at better paid schools, etc., etc. But I think it's also a really valuable life experience to see a teacher, like, again, see, like, the #1 position of authority that you see at that time. You know, school codes can literally overwrite. You know, like, the ways that schools work don't need to follow even, like, legal systems or ways. They can do a bunch of other stuff if they really want to. But I think seeing someone who doesn't care about their job is a valuable experience too. Oh no, it's gonna block my own Oh god, I don't like that. Okay, we're gonna fire way to the left. Okay, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna avoid that. Is what's gonna happen. I think seeing someone who doesn't care about you or your job, like someone who's like seeing apathetic people early on is like important, because that's where like most people in the world are. Most people are very neutral towards you, and I think learning that people who aren't neutral towards you are the good people, like, is kind of a valuable thing. There are going to be some learning that there are people who are willing to use any power they can just to. Oh, okay. Also, this bastion's really coming away now, huh? This bastion's really starting to be torn apart. I went to a private school, so the teachers don't only care for money. It's because they're getting a good amount. Wait, but so, are you saying that? Are you saying teachers don't care about the money at the school because they get a good amount? Because surely if you're at the school where people pay the teachers the most, then that's where they care about money the most. Maybe I'm missing something in the comment, missing an intonation. Maybe I just read it wrong. I do that all the time. That's me. But yeah, I do think there is a value in just seeing the like, oh yeah, well it's pretty neutral towards you. I like the lesson that a lot of people still. The lesson that's like missing from so many people is genuine. Like I think it is literally that, like, the world's huge indifference towards you. People think the world's out to get, like, it's so easy to see one bad thing happening and then assume the world's out to get you. I think I generally had this like thing when like, oh yeah, there are not people who care about me in this world. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that the world is out to get me. The world never cared, like, about, you know, doing some stuff. The world was just like, huh, yeah, you know, we care about the people who do these things. Are you one of the people who do those things? No, okay, you're good. And maybe like making people feel cared about is a good thing. But I also think realizing that, oh god, mining all these blocks is gonna be a nightmare. My freshman teacher just up and vanished with 3 months left in the school year. I wonder how they did that. You know, fascinating little story. I love hearing like tiny like school dramas from other schools. Like my school had this huge thing of like one of the teachers like one of the students dated one of the teachers and she got fired for it, and I was like, man, she was like a really attractive teacher too, and it was like, man, it's that thing, right? Where like if you reverse the genders, obviously like people look at that and it's messed up. But as it was, I was like, oh man, that everyone was like, this guy, this hero of a fella, you know, managed to get whatever her name was, like Miss Marshall or something. This guy pulled off the impossible. You know, he makes a whole generation of dreams possible. Whereas, you know, when you do the reverse, it's like, ooh, yeah, that's a no-go right there. People not caring doesn't mean they hate you and want bad for you. Yeah, that's like the real thing that, like, people don't have to, like, a lot of people divide the world into good and evil, bad and, you know, good, bad, into, you know, like hatred, and, you know, like, it's really easy to do that too. But the reality is, and you might think that half the world hates you, half the world loves you, all the world loves you, and some niche people hate you. You can think any like variants of those things, but the reality is 0.0001% of the world likes you, and 0.0001% of the world hates you, and the vast majority goes, wait, I'm gonna pick a name in chat. The Scream Regular. I want to get a guy future fired. Oh Jesus. The vast majority of the you know, when they hear about Joe Mama, they're like, oh god, what an awful name. When they hear about Carter Conrad, you know, their reaction is like, who's that? I haven't heard of that, you know. And if you do hear about them the first time, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. Are you done talking to me now, friend? Because again, the vast majority of people are indifferent to the vast majority of people, and that's the most freeing thing there is. Like, you're free to make your own imprint on the world how you want, or you're free to like not make an imprint on the world if you don't want to. But like, every new individual you're interacting with is a new individual you're interacting with. It's you know, you have to do your best to have a good interaction with them, perhaps, if you want that. I assume you do. I don't know if you know, maybe you don't. Maybe you're really against that. But yeah, it's up to you to choose how other people perceive you, or you don't get to choose because obviously that's how it works. But you're every time you meet someone new, you're forging a relationship with someone else. It's not just like someone you've met before, etc., etc. Because actually, here's something really interesting. We all have this on us on some level, but we don't really think about it. But when you meet someone, when someone looks like, again, we always think about, like subconscious bias is true in a lot of places, right? But one of the areas that we never think about it, for whatever reason, is, also I'm going to destroy this, I've just decided. One of the areas we never think about it is like, if you see someone that looks like someone you already know, you assume they're going to be similar. Like, you can look at someone and be like, that person is going to be a real nightmare. This person looks cool. This person looks like he's going to be fun to hang out with. Like, and you might not realize you're even doing those things. But also, it's like, you know how like people say, like, you don't look like a John? What that really means is, all the Johns in my life I've met don't look like you. I mean, if you've met Johns in your life, you're living a very fake life, but I digress. Like we're judging people on the spot, like, oh yeah, you look like this. You look like you're a nightmare to talk to. And it's sometimes like it's interesting because like most of the time those people don't even get to prove us right or wrong. Like if you don't, when you know someone well, you realize they're a lot more than just the assumption you make by looking at them. But the vast majority of people, they stay as that little caricature, that little thing you've turned them into. Like you imagine most of the details about someone that are true. And I know, first of all, I find that just like this fascinating little thing of like, wait, why do we do that? That doesn't seem particularly productive. And second of all, it's interesting because that's the most subconscious basis, you know? Like the biggest accidental thing we do is just assuming everyone out there is like someone we know. And therefore we can assume like if you see someone like if you meet someone that looks like someone who dislikes you, you're more likely to assume that person dislikes you. If you see someone who talks in like a stern voice or something, like your dad when he's telling you off for not doing your homework, or a teacher or something, you're gonna assume that like, oh yeah, they're like this. Wait, actually, here's a fun story. Once I actually met like a teacher outside of school, and I was like, oh yeah, they were just like a normal human being, and it blew my mind because like you know them through like one frame, and when you see them outside that frame, it's like you're like, what is this? I met that teacher like when I was like 17. Like I was 17 at a pub, like underaged basically, and like she was like 30, 46 or something like that. She was actually wait. She was with her girlfriend at the time, and that's like, I guess I was only like 10 years. It's not like that revolutionary, but that was like, whoa. That means that the whole time, you know, those rumors about being a lesbian were true, and it's cool, you know. You know, her girlfriend's hot, isn't that nice? But yeah, like the fact is like most people don't know you. You don't know most people, and it's unnatural because we're so used to, for the vast majority of humans' existence, we've known every human in our universe. And if we didn't know a human, we could get to know them. Whereas how many people, history teacher hit me on when I was 18 and bartending. Oh, I mean, honestly, if he was still your history teacher at the time, I'd be like, man, this is opportunity to score some grades. But no, that's, I don't think I'm allowed to joke about that. Someone's gonna get in some trouble for that one, I think. I like the vast majority of history, you get to know someone. But something I thought about, like I like living in a city. I know some people don't live in cities and they love that. Respect, power to you, etc. But I like the conveniences that living so close to other people allows you. Like it's a trade-off. You get less living space, but you get more human benefits. I went to a store today, Five Guys in fact, and there were like 5 people. They were all guys standing in a kitchen, and this is the worst. You know, I take back my joke license. There were like 5 dudes in a kitchen, just standing there ready to make me the best burger of 2020. Actually, no, maybe not 2020. My best burger of the last 3 months for sure. That there were people ready to do that because that's how cities work. You know, like there's like a beautiful there's a lot of things that you get with cities that you don't get with not living there. But one of the interesting things is like if you hop on public transport ever, or even if you're just walking in a crowd, it hurts me when I stop and think about this because you're not meant to. You're not meant to think about these things. You're meant to just move on. But every single person you walk past in the crowd is like an individual person with their own little story, with their own little, with their own tragedies. Like, you walk past the dude, this guy, his wife's got cancer and they're living their last 6 months together. This guy, he's embezzling money from his employer and they haven't found out yet and maybe they never will. This guy works in a homeless shelter. And you know, like every single person has like a backstory you don't know, could never guess, and etc, etc. In reality, this guy likes anime. This guy, looks at equestrian races when he gets stoned. This guy hasn't, touched another human being's hand in the last 5 years. Another human being at all in the last 5 years. It's probably like much more sad and depressing. Because we always like to be like, oh yeah, everyone's so nice. There's a lot of sad and a lot of happy. It's probably a good mix of both. But the word for that is sonder, says Fixan. Yeah, it's a real and common thing, right? The realization that everyone is living their own thing. But also, like, when you pass these people on the street, it's not even that you don't think they have a whole life. You don't even see them as human beings, almost. Like, it's a thing with abstraction in the human brain. But when we see a human being in, like, again, if you live in America, I know you can't relate because public transport, lol, what? But when you don't look at them as people. They're just people sharing. Like, you're in your own private bubble. They're in their own private bubble. You can see each other, but you like almost choose to zone them out. Like they vanish from existence. Check yourself. I watch horse races stone. Honestly, who doesn't come home after a long night of smoking the stone stuff and then decide that they need to watch a horse race or two? As you can see, I'm a huge stoner from my explicit knowledge of horse races and weed and stuff. But because like that little fact, right? The bubbles we're all existing in. The reason you don't think about people is because like it's complex, it's hard, it's detailed. But none of those people you meet on a daily basis think about you either, or like very few of them do. And that's that whole like neutrality thing at play. I think being in a city like probably helps with that a lot. Because if you live in a town of like literally 12 people, everyone knows your name. Which, by the way, like, that dream, like, go to the place where everyone knows your name. Actually, what is that? Wait. Where everyone knows your name. It's the theme from Cheers. Where's Cheers set, though? I've always heard of Cheers, but I've never seen it. I know it's a grocery store in Singapore, but that's not what that's about. Cheers is set in... where is Cheers set? Theme, characters, production... Cheers, where is it? Cheers is in Boston, apparently. There we go. So, Boston is the place where everyone knows your name. Which I don't think that's true. I think if you go to a stranger on the street, go, hey, what's my name? Don't know if they're gonna say it. I grew up in a town of 60 people. Right, your choices are marry your cousin or marry the 30-year-old human being who lives vaguely near you. Yeah, but like, that's the, I think that's the biggest. Also, how does everyone know about that? Why Google when you have chat, says Chantal X Lee. I'm going to test this right now. You guys are going to be my Google Assistant for a bit. So, instead of like, hey Google, it'll be like, chat, tell me this. Oh, my thing went off. I'm sorry, stop. Chat, Google... What's the difference between a banana and a pineapple? Please tell me. I want Google's response. What is the difference? Because in most languages, like besides English, it's like bananas and ananas. So like there's gotta be a similarity, right? Also, are bananas really a fruit? This blows my mind every time I realize it. But you know how there's pineapple juice, there's apple juice, there's orange juice? Do you know what happens when you try to juice a banana? You get a squished banana. Pineapple tastes good. Pineapple's sharp. There's no difference. There we go, JJ. The first person to actually Google. Banana is a berry and pineapple's not. But why can't you milk it? You can milk all the other berries. Strawberry juice is a thing. Man, strawberry juice should be a thing. Why doesn't it exist? I'm very confused. I'm very confused. Pineapple has half the calories of banana. Honestly, why do bananas exist? Like, they're so cheap, I get that, don't get me wrong. But, by the way, how much are bananas where you live? Chat, I want to do a little check in the chat. This isn't a Google thing, this is a, I don't know, when you go to a grocery store, how much does a banana cost you? Strawberries don't have much juice. Even does a passion fruit, but like passion fruit juice is a thing. Passion fruit's my favorite fruit, and I hate it because it's like so fiddly to work with. And like, whenever people ask, you should be like, no, I meant what's your favorite normal fruit? 30 cents, 70 cents for a bundle. 6 for 89p. No, single bananas, friends. None of these 6 banana bundle. You know, $1.69, 99 cents a pound. How much is a pound of bananas though? What? Who's buying bananas by the pound? Who's like, yeah, I need about 4 pounds of bananas. No, you bought €2 for a kilo? You know what, this is the worst. You've all ruined it. Unique idea, eat 15 bananas. Bananas are so tasty. I bet that would go really well. No, the worst bit was, I wish it was like a food I liked. Like, if you asked me to eat 15 Five Guys burgers, actually probably a bad example because they're so big. I bet I could eat 15 like, 15 like, you know, McDonald's cheeseburgers or something. I reckon I could do it. When I was younger, actually, because like, people always say like McDonald's is getting expensive now, but it's just like they always have more expensive options to go with the cheap ones that still exist. And okay, please don't blow up my stuff. Oh, always hate when guys do this. We're gonna fire back at you. Yes, we are. We've got this return to sender achievement literally 100 different times, effectively. You ever tried chocolate on your banana? I haven't, but that also sounds awful. Okay, just up a little bit. No, he's changing direction too much. Okay, this time that way. Okay, he's gone. That's not my issue anymore. I'm just gonna get right back to picking up some base salt. I'm so sad that we're missing like 1 lava bucket, and then we're good. But that's fine. Don't need to care about that anyway. Produce is priced by the pound. You just buy how much you need. But like, honestly, why isn't everything priced by the weight? Like, I find that so odd that it's like, oh yeah, we make the exception. Like, surely, you know, you should pay for food by the 100 grams. Or you should pay for the package. Like, when I buy a banana, I don't care about the price per pound. I'm just like, what's a banana cost me? I guess the argument's people buy the heavier versions. But like, when you buy like a lasagna, like a frozen lasagna, there are probably more heavy and less heavy frozen lasagnas, right? Maybe. I'm not sure. You know, I'm gonna think about this all day. Why is it just fruit and vegetables? Wagwan Soy Cat, can you say Marland Miners? No, I don't know what I'm saying. Marwood's Miners Realm is the best. In my school, I started a realm. Thanks. No. Okay, so I think Asda sells single bananas for 32p. Yeah, the point I was trying to raise there is I saw today at Aldi. I go to Aldi, you know, it's my favorite, I'd say, of the big supermarkets. At Aldi today, I saw, oh, we found some more gold. I saw bananas for 13p, and I was like, man, that right there, that's like value, right? That's like unbelievable. Like, I generally couldn't, like, when you think about it, again, this is the problem with the modern world. Like, things like that just go unnoticed. But that means that for 1/8 of a pound, you know, you could get 7 for a pound, or like 8 for a pound, 8, I guess that would be. But for that tiny of a price, you could get 7 for a pound and still have change left over. You could get you can get a banana which grows on the other side of the world. Someone spends 3 or 6 months or whatever. They grow these bananas. Then they pick it from the tree or something. They throw it on a ship to the other side of the world. And that's 13. And then on that ship, it gets off the ship. It goes on a train or a lorry to this Audi store. The Audi, a guy takes it from that truck, puts it on the shelf, and that's like 13 pence. And it's like, oh god, no, the world is too good. I said before about like, I guess like, appreciating something's good is really hard to do. Like, when the world is looking good, we just look at it and go, oh, that's cool. When the world's bad, we're like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. But like, bananas for 13p. Why is this not, why doesn't this make the news? 13 pence bananas. You can, like, everyone's always like, oh yeah, this is gonna get me in some trouble somewhere, I guess. So let me clarify. What I am saying is my opinion, and it's cool if you disagree, because my opinion is probably wrong. There we go. But like, you know how people are always complaining, like, a concept that I think like you should try to pay a living wage if you can. Living wage is defined as like the ability to afford a bunch of things. But because the concept of living wage is so widespread now, people assume that like, oh, so if you get paid less than a living wage, you can't afford to live. You are, the ability to live is being taken away from you, and you will die otherwise. And it's like, well, that's actually not what that means in the slightest, right? Like, I feel like it's one of those like clever clickbait names in the real world, where it's like, did you know that like the living wage in the UK is like £11 something, and people are like, oh yeah, if you earn less than that, then you can't afford to. I think it's like a 2-bed apartment plus a certain number of bills plus having a child or something like that. But it's like, those aren't like requirements to be alive, are they? Because everything is like a choice in the world, right? We live in a world where thankfully, like, we get to make choices about what we do and do not choose to purchase for ourselves. At least I do. Maybe you don't. I'm sorry for you if that's your case. But I need to go get another pickaxe, by the way. But like, for instance, like, food delivery is expensive, but you can pick it up and it's cheaper. Or, you can make your own food, or you can buy 13p bananas. Like, there is no one actually not living, actually starving, right? Like, you're gonna make a ton of bananas super easy, one banana. Nutritional values for a banana is, for every 100 grams, you get 84 calories. So if you need to get your 2,000 calories in, you only need to eat about 22 bananas. Actually, bananas are cheap, like, but I guess they're not that cheap per calorie. I guess there's foods that's cheaper per calorie. But still, that means that, like, anyway, it's just an annoyance to me that, like, people are like, oh yeah, I don't make enough money to get food. It's like, well, you do, but you get other things instead, which is like, it's a bad trap to get in, especially if it's like rent. You can't get out of paying rent. You're trapped in that situation. But like, when we live in the time of the cheapest food ever, in the UK, we've got insanely cheap food. If you live in the US, I'm sure it's similar. We live in like times of like insanely cheap food. I have a pickaxe around here somewhere. Where is it? Does anyone know? Okay, there it is. And it's like, it's a bit misleading to say that you can't live on a certain amount of money, right? Because everything that you need to live is insanely, and not only is it like, again, this is like Toycat likes the world again. One of my biases that like I'm trying to admit that people disagree with is I think the world gets better, not worse. I know, crazy opinion of me to have. I look at facts and data, and some people look at their feelings, and I understand why we get different conclusions. But like, the standard of living that you can have on the same amount of money is always going up. Even like, the amount of money that the average person has is also always going up. Like, look at 100 years ago, the average income. Look at now. Look at 10 years ago, the average income now. But also, even if you had $1 million a year salary, literally like 5 years ago, right? The things that you can get now, like, even if you think it's expensive, the fact that I can have a person go to any store, go to a McDonald's even, like, the concept of McDonald's is already kind of wacky and new, but like, a person will go there for me. The one part of the fast food process that was hard, the going to the store and physically ordering, you can now someone can do that for you, and it costs like, again, even though it's annoying to pay, you know, like a $2.50 service fee and a charge, etc. It's like they'll just go there and do the thing. This is like a crazy luxury service, but like instead of being crazy luxury, which again, in old times maybe it was, now it's like for anyone. I can, you know, like as a normal human being, I can get this like crazy luxury of a person going and doing the thing for me, and they will. They'll just, it's like that's just how it works, right? And then tip your delivery drivers. Yeah, in the US, I am like when I'm in America, I'm gonna be a tipper. In the UK, again, maybe this is like a whole dispute, but because I'm so just cautious of the apps, I don't trust them. I don't tip on that level, and also like I think they should be. Oh god. But yeah, I understand in America you have to. But anyway, honestly, have you on your main world ever cheated or thought about cheating? Can you reset the Nether, or is it not possible? Amazon delivery is free. So first of all, I have never cheated. I don't think I've ever considered cheating seriously. Like, I think the closest I got, like, actually, I don't know. Oh, even then, I don't know if I seriously considered it, but like, a minute I was like, if we just hop, when I died in the million block walk, I was like, if I just, instead of walking all the way back and fishing for 12 hours, I just hop into creative, hop back. I considered it. I can show you right now that I haven't, if you really want to see. Here is my world. There's no achievements cannot be earned here. As you can see. Oh, we're on easy again, apparently. We switch back and forth between easy, medium, hard a bunch. So I generally don't know what difficulty I'm on at a given point in time. But, yeah, I never changed from survival to creative because I like the... As soon as you do it once, there's no reason to stop yourself doing it ever again. And then you've ruined the fun for yourself. Like, it's on... In that one situation, I'd have saved myself 12 hours. But going through the 12 hours of hardship helped me in a different way, you know? It doesn't seem like it helped me. It seems like it really hurt me, only. But playing pure survival is like... It's not just a punishment. It does have its own rewards in there. Or maybe I'm just crazy and I play a weird way that no one should ever try and replicate. It's one of those two things. It's just hard to be sure which it is. What I did is, do you have to using the blocks in this is harassing? That's how you say your name, right? Or is there less syllables in the middle there? I'm not entirely certain. Oh, Christ. Oh, that was an experience. Oh. Not gonna lie, I didn't need to fish that long to get a mending book. Oh yeah, I probably could have just traded with a villager, right? I have a mending trades villager now. A lot of people think I don't because it doesn't come up in many videos. It's mostly live streams, but I've got a mending villager. That's how I've got mending and all my stuff. In case you're curious, I don't have an unbreaking villager. That's my like next big target. I think we're gonna have to do a stream someday where we literally just we're literally gonna have to do a stream where we just try to get villagers to give me the right book. That's the whole thing. Actually, wait, right now, we've got a bunch of people who love Minecraft. Can I get a unbreaking free trade from a villager on the first go? Do I just have to reset till I do it? Or do I have to trade with them a whole bunch and then see if they'll give me that? Whew. Love your content, dude. Thank you so much, Devon LG. Really appreciate the love, the affection, and indeed the support. Well, really, it was the support. Actually, no, it was love. Also, that was arguably affection. Thank you for the love, the affection, and the support. I'm sticking to the words I said. First trade. Perfect. So I'm going to get me some unbreaking. Because I still on this sword don't have unbreaking. And it's not a big deal. But it bothers me every year. Yeah! And then... Okay, I'm getting out there. I'm getting out there. Okay. Oh, God. I don't know why now is when things get crazy. But now is indeed when things get crazy. Whew. You have an equal chance the first trade to be an enchantment. Yeah, I might grab a bunch of librarians, trap them in a room, and just keep going until we get the ones we want. Whew. Yeah, that was some scary times. That's why you get a fire resistance potion in the Nether. Yeah, I had a totem. I wasn't like overly worried. Also, I'm wearing full Netherite armor. It's just the Elytra that we've lost out on there. That's fine. It's true. Why is there only banana milkshakes? See, banana milkshakes are a lie. You squish a banana down, you don't get banana juice. You get squished banana. Then make them zombies and cure them. Is that how you can reset the trades? Oh, you say, oh yeah, if you make them zombies and kill them, you get the trades for like 1 emerald. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. I like that. I like that a lot. I actually really want thorns, then it takes 3 or 4 hours each day. Why would anyone ever really want thorns? Why would anyone do that to themselves? No one should do that to themselves. We're gonna have to go to the edge now just to pick up some of these blocks. Ah, okay. Yep. Scary. Gotta learn to not do that one, huh? So let's just mine down here. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just something I've got to stop doing, huh? Yeah, let's go pick up some blocks, because I think a few more would have ended up down here. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I assume entirely incorrectly. I do not agree with the phrase banana juice. Do you have to pay for Toy Get Read your message? Says Ryder Nord. No. I think I read out a message from you before. I remember your name. No, actually, I like to say yes. Because that way, at least people, like... I think it's, like it's... If you're actually looking, you'll see that I'm not. I'm reading out a lot of messages that aren't paid. So, I always assume when someone says that, it's like... It's like, it almost has like an accusatory vibe to it, you know? Like, you know, I'm just asking, like... I'm not trying to be, you know, I'm just asking a question here. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But like, is this Ryder Nord, like, you know, a bit of a scumbag? Yeah, like, like, again, it seems like accusatory. Even though I'm not saying that you are, and I don't think you are. I think you're a great person, probably. Like, when you like, say something like that, it's like, it's got a bit of a vibe to it, you know? Because when you say words, you're not just saying the words, you're saying, like, a subset of words behind there. You know, I've said the words too much now. If I had a 25 pence coin for every time someone asked what Twigget's favorite music was, I'd still have 0 pence because 25p isn't a thing. I wish we had a 25... Like, honestly, the 20p is a better coin than the quarter from America. Because it, like, you can make more change better. Like, they've done the maths. They've proven it for more amounts you can pay over 20p. But there is something satisfying about a quarter in America that I just can't describe. I've been collecting state quarters for a while. I've got, like, most of the states. I don't even know why I want all the states. Like, what am I going to do? Just start a coin collection or something? I should start a coin collection or something. It's a shame. Corona means, like, more and more people don't want you to pay with cash. But sometimes you just want to collect some money, you know? He secretly only cares about his green name channel wives. You know what? You caught me there, too. I found out we can equip firework rockets in the offhand on Bedrock. Yeah, I do it all the time by accident. It's so frustrating. It's for crossbow ammo, and I hate it so much. How do you get rocket? Oh, wait, just platinum Minecraft PS4 edition? Hell yeah. Congratulations, Jake, on the platinum trophy. Who isn't happy with a platinum trophy? You're not. How do you get your rockets? How can you reset the Nether? You get rockets by paper and gunpowder. Gunpowder and paper. You see this recipe right here? That's how you get rockets. Glad to help you out, my friend. If you know what states you're missing, I'll mail them to you for your birthday. Man, you are a hero of the resurrection. Again, I'm gonna have to read some tweets clearly. I never realized how unique a quarter in money is. Actually, does a quarter euro exist? Euro coins. I never even thought, like, euro goes 1, 5. No, yeah, euro goes 1, 2, 10, 20 as well. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it really is just America that goes 25. Very interesting and bizarre, actually. Anyway, so, oh, okay, yep. So this is the last bit of lava. Once this goes, it's all gone otherwise. Oh, I had those buckets in that chest. Let's just go do that. Let's just make that happen. We can do that now. Okay, let's pick up these things. Thank you very much, Nefster. Hi, started playing MC again a month ago, and I've been glued to a new channel. Camp Sounds playing Survivor, don't feel so lonely of you around. Thanks, friends, it's Nefster. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you like the stuff, Nefster. So, I'm gonna ask you, Nefster. No one else is allowed to respond to this. If you're thinking of responding to this and you're not Nefster, you're not allowed to. I've been thinking of doing a video just criticizing Minecraft art. Because there's like so many weird inconsistencies with it that I just think I'd have fun. Just like making a whole video criticizing textures. Do you think you'd enjoy that, or do you think that's like low quality? Just listening to Toy Cat criticize art for 15, 20 minutes. Why not place Blackstone on the source, says Chantal? I want to pick it up in a bucket so I can take it whatever I do. The thing with the lava. In reality, we could pick up lava somewhere else pretty easily. But it's just kind of satisfying to know that we have all of the thing. Okay, Nefster, we're waiting for you now. It's all on your friend. That sounds beautiful. Do it. Nefster, says Michael Neff. You know what? You could Michael Neff. That could be a Nefster. I could believe that. I could believe that name comes from Michael Neff. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be doing some like filler videos soon because I've got to I'm gonna be away from my recording setup for 2 weeks while I live in a country that's not the UK, so I can get into America. Because, God, do I disagree with current restrictions? Oh Lord, hey friend. Okay, where were those? I had like buckets and a pickaxe in one of these chests, right? Do you remember there was buckets in one of them? Was there buckets in one of them? Did I imagine that there were buckets somewhere? Is it in this one over here maybe? Ah, there's 1, 2, 3. Well, we'll take this with us. We might as well get this out there. Why not have thorns if you have unbreaking/mending? Thorns only... honestly, I guess, yeah, like, once you've got unbreaking and mending, you've dealt with the primary pain of it. But also, I don't like the feeling it gives either. Like, even if it didn't hurt your armor, and even if it wasn't this, horrendous decision, it's like, but do you need... Oh, want it. And the answer's usually like, not really. Okay, so this is the last bit of lava. This entire Bastion is now lava-free. And the good type of lava-free, not the bad type. If you don't have mob farm, what's your renewable source of gunpowder for rockets? I don't have a renewable source, I just kill creepers. I know everyone's always like, you should just make a mob farm. But every time someone says it, I'm like, well, there goes my chance of doing that in the next 3 months. So, UK is a £2 coin. Yeah, Europe is a €2 coin as well. But America goes straight for the dollar note. I know there's a dollar coin. Don't worry, I've got dollar coins. Americans are always so quick to jump at me like, actually, Toy Cat, didn't you know there's a dollar coin? And it's like, yeah, but you don't use it, so it doesn't count. It's like, did you know there's a $1 trillion note? And it's like, yeah, it exists, but... Did you know, actually, okay, before we leave, let's give you all a fun fact, because I love money. And by the way, speaking of money, thank you, Triple Threat, for triple the threat of money. Or not giving me money under the threat of... I don't know what I'm saying here, but thank you, Triple Threat, love your money. But did you know there's a $1 trillion bill in America? I also, so there is this, there's this one bill, there's only one of them, and it exists as a way to move, absurd amounts of money in person. Because, every time that money is out there, there's only one $1 trillion bill, so if it gets stolen, they can just invalidate it. You know how, in theory, you can count the serial numbers on money and invalidate it that way? If you have no one looks at the serial number. If someone gives you a $1 trillion note, you're like, wait a minute, I'm gonna check to see if I should accept this. And so, before, banking systems were a thing, it was the cheapest way to send $1 trillion from a place to another place, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, we made some real good progress today, huh? I think we made some great stuff, but making good progress is not finishing. Indeed, I'm pretty sure... Oh, wait, we need to grab, 9 of those back, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's 7. I need to put 1 bone back in there. This has been a delightful stream, but as of all good things, it has to come to an end. Also, of all bad things, all things come to an end. We will all die someday. And you can, paying for a chocolate bar at the corner store with a $1 trillion note. Yeah, just, get yourself a nice little, pack of gum. Be like, actually, I don't really need any more. You got change for this, right? But no, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's live stream. If you did, then thank you for, coming over here and existing with it. Let's just stare and smile for a bit. This is what you pay for, isn't it? This is what you're here for. You don't care about the Bastion. You just want to hang out and live your life. No, this is, we're literally one stream away now from being able to finish this entirely. I'm excited for that one stream. But one stream away, we still in fact are. So thank you for coming with you're spending any of your time here with me today. I know that takes, you know, who has the time, the effort to come watch a Toy Cat stream for 2.5 hours? Not me, that's for sure. I'm just kidding. I mean, I could watch them for 2.5 hours, but I'm busy being here. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed today's live stream, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Wait, IVX Tory Cat thinks everyone can afford food. It's really cheap, man. I lived on rice for a really long time. Rice is so cheap. Go buy some rice if you like. It's easy to think food's expensive when you're like, if you assume that you have to get the exact food you get right now, because when you're buying food, you're actually buying you know, part of the product of food. Like when you go to McDonald's, you're not just buying food. You're buying convenience, you're buying a little bit of novelty, you're buying nostalgia, and then you're buying, you know, you're buying speed. But when you just buy food, i.e. just a bag of rice, it's so cheap. Ingredient. Have you ever bought bread? Also, fun fact about Canada from your girl, Looney and a Toonie. Oh, I do know the Toonie and the Looney thing. I love it. It's one of my favorite little details. But like, you know, you ever buy lentils? So cheap, so cheap. Like, you get a loaf of bread, 30p or something. You can feed yourself for like the better part of a week with this. Just, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. Because again, I think this is a missing thing. I think like for financial education, like, I think when you're buying something, you think about it as one thing. But every time you buy something, you're buying a lot of things combined, and then you think of that like if I eat out at a steakhouse and when I spent $100 on that steak, I wasn't buying $100 worth of food. I was buying $6 of steak and $94 of atmosphere, probably some dumb ratio like that. Yeah, if you know what you're buying and you like it, that's great. But if you don't know what you're buying, that's when you make mistakes. Okay, there we go. Corrected that now. Lentil burgers between that bread and you're set. There we go. Lentils, burgers, and then a little side dish of rice. Like, you can eat for so cheaply if you want to. It's just, you don't want to eat for cheaply, you want to eat nicer things. But then that's a want, not a need, right? You're trying to up that. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Like, it's one of those, like, big things that... It's not only, like, a bad mistake people make on behalf of people, like assuming that people can't afford food, but also it's a bad thing that people make in their own lives. Like, when you pay rent for an apartment,
long outros are yes.
When you pay rent for an apartment, you're not just buying a place to live. It's not that you buy the apartment or you don't. It's like, well, your other options are house sharing. You're like, well, I don't want a house share. Well, it's like, well, then you're buying the luxury of not having to. You're not doing a thing. Or like, you know, some people camp. Like, a lot of Google employees who earn like 6 figures, they like live in the parking lot and they like shower at work, whatever. It's an option. It's not like a high quality one, but the fact is nothing is forced. Nothing is mandatory. Your current lifestyle is not. Your current lifestyle is usually a choice. There are a few things that aren't, and those are the things we gotta focus on. Like, I don't know. You know, you can't. No one chooses to get diabetes, the other type at least. No one chooses to get whatever else. Those are the things we should be focusing on reducing prices and making accessible to people. Because things that you actually die without and cannot afford. And even then, I'm not a person who. This was a bad idea. I'm not a person who even understands what diabetes is. If you understand diabetes, send me a tweet. Okay, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.